Wow, this is like being on one of those like, what's it? Those rides. I don't know what they're called now.
Go live.
I'll try. If I just don't move, it shouldn't happen. But
Honestly, I haven't noticed that
okay.
it moved.
But when I like to move my hands a lot, and then I think it like does stuff. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I have a little bit of reverberation. Okay, we are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. All right, let's get this going. Welcome, everybody, to the True Sky Crew podcast. Welcome. We use the real sky and the real solar system for our astrology here. This is season 2, the theme being United Under One Sky. We can celebrate our differences all we want, but one fact remains the same for everybody. The true sky don't lie. And there's one sky above, and we should all be using it. Today's episode is going to be a transit report. We have a very, very special guest, Amber Green of Celestial Healing 444 and True Sky Human Design. She was our guest for season 2, episode 2. If you want to learn more about her, her gifts, her offerings, more about True Sky Human Design, which I personally am fascinated with, then you can go ahead and watch episode 2. Today, Amber and I are going to be decoding the transits starting today until about August 15th. And we are going to be doing the True Sky astrology that you're used to in the Sky app. And Amber is going to be adding some True Sky Human Design and Gene Keys. So get excited. This is going to be a great episode. Welcome, Amber. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me back. I'm excited.
Oh, yeah. My pleasure. So, before we began the episode, Amber and I were talking a little bit, and she had a really profound analysis about how this transit report is going to go and how the true sky connects with gene keys. And Amber, can you share that with our guests?
Yeah. Yeah. So it may sink in better once they can see some of the visuals, but I was just like, thinking maybe someone who doesn't know much about any of this, or let's say at least human design or the gene keys may, I don't know, see some of the templates I made and be like, what does this have to do with astrology and the stars? So I was just realizing also in the way how, I am doing focused in on the gene keys and Sachi is in the stars, right? That this entire view is just like an even more expanded and deep as above, so below view, meaning obviously we're speaking to celestial bodies, and then she's expanding out even more into the stars, going as far as above as we can, right? And then what the gene keys is all of our genetic coding, right? So that's then bringing us like extremely, extremely deep within to hopefully just give an even more full picture of all of this, how it works, and what the not only planets but then the stars are activating, but then hopefully giving you all a picture to see like what that actually means deep within our vessel, but
Mhm.
then in our reality what we could be experiencing, from that. So did I say that in a making sense way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, And it truly exemplifies what you said of as above, so below. You know, the detailed level of tapping into the stars is so precise of what is actually happening in the celestial sea above us, and then how that activates certain genetic sequences in our body. It really is the definition of as above, so below. And that was one of my biggest red flags about tropical astrology when I found out what it truly was, is that like, uh-oh, okay, as above is not so below if I'm looking at it. Tropical astrology stuff.
Well, it kind of is for them, I'm saying.
Well, for yeah.
I think it's
But yeah,
throwing, yeah,
the
it's
stars
just
not
throwing it
matching.
off.
It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
all right, so we are going to be doing a transit report. So for everyone who has been used to the transit report so far. You know exactly how we do this. We go on the Sky app, which let me pull it up, and we will, go celestial body by celestial body, starting with the sun. We will look at the real placements of what's actually happening in the real sky, and we will discuss that. So a little bit of changes though that are going to be happening is, usually on the True Sky Crew, we have focused on alignments, which we will talk about some here and there, but I'm going to be focused more on activations. So if you didn't get those definitions from season one, an activation is when a celestial body is near or occulting a specific star. An alignment is based on and outside the zodiacal ecliptic, obviously. So, for example, having a Hydra alignment, it would be when a celestial body is in alignment with a star drawn perpendicular from the ecliptic to our pole star. So, because I found that a lot of people were sort of saying the same thing. They don't know what to do with the information on alignments. They're not sure how to apply it. Uh, you know, it was just kind of like, well, what do I do with this information? And a lot of people don't have access to a lot of the programs where alignments are calculated. And I get that for the general public. So what I was hearing is they want more actual real sky, true sky stuff. So I'm going to be talking more about the stars that everybody can see. So you don't need a calculator, you don't need a program. You can just go look at the sky yourself, or you can get a sky app. There's plenty of free ones, or you can get them for even, like $2.99, $4.99. Um, and so I'm just going to be going through the celestial bodies, and then we will. I'll turn it over to Amber for her analysis through various however she wants to discuss. We have tons of graphics of the gene keys and True Sky Human Design, and I'll be asking her some questions along the way. So, well, happy Gemini season, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it because it's on its way out. Gemini season comes and goes too fast, in my opinion.
Hmm.
So, here today, oh, that's actually not today. Here we go. On the 15th, the sun is exiting uh, Gemini. And so we have the sun, which will be activating Al-Kirkab on the 17th. And then it will be going into the Gemini Cancer void basically until the end of July. It's going to be activating the Beehive cluster um, during the new moon, which we will talk about when we get to the moon part, and we'll talk about that momentarily. But it is going to be occulting Acellus Australis on 8/1 approximately, so about 7:31 to 8/1, and then moving through the Cancer Leo void and then into Leo technically it's going to be in alignment on the 10th in Leo. So Leo season starts about 8:10, but it's technically not going to be uh, in the Cancer star system until a little bit later. And it's going to be moving towards Regulus. So it's going to be activating Subra and then moving towards fixed Royal Star Regulus, which is where our new moon will occur. So that's going to be really, really big, especially those who have Regulus in their chart. That will be on the next episode because it's the 22nd into August, but nonetheless, pretty big energy that's coming up, especially in sovereignty codes. If you want to hear more about the star Regulus, you can go ahead and watch our Leo episode um, from season one. So, Amber, any information about what the sun's going to be doing over the next month?
I mean, yeah, if you want to quickly maybe flip through just like those transit charts that I had, it's up to you if you have it
Yeah,
convenient,
absolutely.
because that's basically going to be showing us sun, it's the ones that say sun and earth in gene keys,
Is that
whatever,
this one?
whatever. Yes, yes.
Okay.
So we
This is
can,
the first one, right? Yeah.
yeah, that's the
Okay.
first one. So we can disregard the one on the right and just focus in, since we're just speaking about the sun, on the left. And then just giving some, like what I've been feeling as far as just the sun's soon to be journey through Cancer is that we're kind of being prepared with, thank goodness, these codes in our G center and in human design. The G center is just basically the core of who we are, and um, gives us purpose and helps with our path and our identity. So it feels, very much like we are going to be having this transit starting tomorrow, but having some good vibes in this way before we are soon getting into, if you want to go into to slide to the next Sun Earth transit, um for the next week, whatever the next week is, and then we can just again like focus in just on the Sun
Okay.
and Earth
I
ones.
believe it's this one. Yes.
Yes, yes. I'm just trying to look too in my phone so that I can see which ones are which. Yes. So then this is what I was saying before we actually began recording is then shit's gonna get kind of serious as far as deep within us, because then we're now between Sun and Earth is all going to begin activating lots of codes within the root center. Okay. So, and then having this alignment with Pluto and the Earth, this is something that I love about human design is, and like what I'm trying to keep or bring into people's awareness more through like these posts that I make like this is also us remembering and knowing where the earth is in regards to what is happening in these ways. And so a lot of, I'm just looking here on my phone because it's easier for me to see. Yeah, a lot of then what we're going to be being brought deeply within basically. So then if you want we can go, let's see, almost before you switch to the next one, I'll just say too that you can see where Pluto and the Earth are in Gene Key 58, right? Like I I love this code, the shadow, it's dissatisfaction, but then the city is bliss. So this is very much like a divine dissatisfaction that's trying to be ignited within us that I feel is going to be like very stirred up in this Earth and Pluto conjunction. And as we get further into Cancer season, then if you want to go to the next week, I'll speak
This one?
to,
Or wait, no, I think.
yeah, yep. So
Is
then
it that
just,
one? Okay.
yep,
There's one.
just the slide on the left. We'll focus on that one of then the next transits are, like I said, still different codes, but in the root center. Now the Sun and Mercury are going to have some alignment in this time. Um, and this one is just going to be bringing us, like I said, even deeper, but it feels like it's going to get a little uncomfortable. Like, just, you know, like all of these messages in the root, basically from the I Ching, are like, don't do anything, be still, be quiet, listen within, only take action if it's a must kind of energy, So it just feels like a very massive root purging and balancing is going to be occurring. And then if you want to go to the next week, we'll look at that transit for the sun.
This one, I believe. Yes.
Yes, yes, 8-2. So let's see. Let me confirm on my screen. Yes, so again, we're still in the root. So this is kind of unique that we're normally not having so many consecutive codes. I mean, we are in this time, but I'm speaking to just like all of the other Earth and Sun transits that are occurring. They're normally not all in one center and they're bringing us in and out of different integrations within different centers. But then certainly we're not just like going weeks at a time of all root center codes, but when we're in Cancer, this is occurring. So, and then what's happening too from where the Earth is basically almost all of these root center codes are in Cancer or Capricorn. So it's just all of that energy. So as we're trying to see for what is the date on here? Okay, yeah. So then this is where we're getting from 8-2 to 8-7. We're going to be getting further away from the new moon energy, getting closer to the full moon that will be coming after this, which we'll speak to in different ways after this. But so it feels a lot like now more of this root balancing will be occurring in these codes, like um what has occurred through the weeks prior, and all of the deep inward sitting and digging and everything that all of these transits and the sun and earth have brought up within us will be settling a bit, or just at least like, I don't know, bringing us some kind of clarity of like what the hell just happened.
No heavens.
Yeah. So, and then I think there's only one more week of the sun transits if you want to look at that one after this one, because then you'll see quite a shift.
So I only got up to 8-8. Maybe I forgot to.
No, you're good. I think it's for the 8-8 week. You should have one more
Oh,
that,
oh, that's right. Okay. For some reason, I thought I
yeah.
already had 8 up. Okay, there we
No,
go.
you're good. You're good. Yeah. So then here we go. This is the last one that I made like this, the one on the left. So like, finally we'll be able to breathe. Thank you, sun and earth. Like we're out of the root center codes. We'll be getting what I feel from this without going into like even all of just the details of the codes themselves here is bringing up, from all of that root center work and activation, integration up into the crown, into the throat, making a lot of sense and gaining a lot of clarity of basically all that we went through. And let me look at a map real quick of the borders here. I want to look at this date. Yeah, so then the way that I have this set boundary wise in the human design mandala is this week too is then okay, this is the ending of Cancer season basically, and we're going to be beginning to be getting into that Leo, and I don't have any more templates after that, but to me it's like a perfect, the kind of visual I wanted to give everyone is, we started off in the beginning like core of who we are, like getting some good stability within before 3 to 4 weeks of just root work, massive root work. And then now the end of Cancer will be like, okay, well, what are we going to do with all of that we learned?
Hmm.
And look forward to Leo
Hmm.
season after that.
Yeah. And I really love this time of year. I love Gemini season. It really goes very fast, and a lot of it is very mental based, very nervous calm system based of understanding your electrical system. And for me, Cancer season is all about getting to the emotional root of things, which is usually it is the root. It's like what emotional programs are running and how do you allow your emotional body to be more fluid so that you can ground easier, so that there's not stuck emotions or emotional programs that are keeping you trapped in something that you don't want. And again, a lot of that has to do with what our nervous system told us in Gemini. And then, of course, we were talking about this before we began the episode, how Cancer season is pretty much just a big crying puddle, crying ocean energy. And um, it's very much needed. Like, one of the best things about Cancer is that tears flow very easily. And then it's like once you get that out, it's kind of like you're a bit waterlogged in Cancer season, I want to say. And then once all the water is out, then you can set a flame and really get into that Leo creative energy, which I absolutely love. Leo season is also a
Hmm.
fantastic time of year, just because there's usually a lot of fun in the sun.
Hmm. Yes. And like we said before too, that because it's just so funny hearing you say this again with the crying, like that, because I had said to her before we began recording, I experience Cancer energy and others as being very much like the most grounded water sign kind of energy like there is. And she was agreeing too, but this is coming from a person who I have a lot of Pisces energy, so it's like I get kind of all of my water, I feel like gets kind of like it gets that shore, like you said, in Cancer season. So like I kind of don't feel, I'm like, oh, my water's got something to hold it. This is nice. Like it doesn't,
Yeah.
for me, it doesn't feel very, I'm like not drowning. I'm like, oh, okay, we're on the beach now. Like normally I'm
Yes.
just like in Pisces, like deep sea, like no land to be seen,
Yeah.
like
Uh-huh.
drowning, you know?
Yeah, it's like for Pisces energy, I feel like you become the water. It's not
Oh
like you're
yeah.
a drowning entity. You are the water itself, just
Yes.
like completely become one, engulfed in it
It's
and
just,
by it
yes.
and there's really no differentiation between you
No.
and water.
No.
Where Cancer, yeah, I
Primordial
think
cosmic water.
exactly.
Like,
Yeah, and
yeah.
Cetus even more so.
Mm.
Which I don't know if we've ever talked about Cetus, but
Mm-mm.
Cetus, it's the constellation that is betwixt Pisces and Aries, and the sun actually never
Mhm.
goes through Aries anymore. It does not touch the asterism, so technically
Yeah.
Aries isn't a zodiac sign by definition anymore. And
That's so,
it doesn't go through Cetus either, but the moon goes through Cetus quite frequently, as
yeah.
well as some other celestial bodies. So it's very interesting. Like the Cetus codes, which is the genetic hybridized whale creature. It's most
Mhm.
typically known as the whale, but it's reptilian, mammalian, and uh, fish DNA that
Mhm.
is spliced. So that I find is like much more the primordial and multi-lifetime. It's kind of like the Akashic historian is stored
Mhm.
within Cetus energy.
Yes.
So I wouldn't
Yes.
be surprised if you had some Cetus things in your chart, honestly.
I probably do.
Yeah.
Yes, probably
Um,
so. I it reminds me, I don't know if you've seen, most people have, but it reminds me of the whales in the newer Avatar movie, like that energy of the
oh,
whale
yes,
there.
definitely.
Very
Uh-huh.
much. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Mhm.
perfect example.
Yeah.
And if you've ever seen Mrs. Davies, which is a really great series, there's a
But,
lot of whale codes that come through there as well. I highly recommend it. It's very uh, techno spiritual, I guess I'll
oh,
say.
I'll have to look that up. That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's a very amusing show. But back to Cancerian energy. Yes, like Amber and I were discussing right before this was um, that one of Cancer's greatest gifts is learning to come to shore. So while we're in Cancer season, even though it's great to do this crying, really be in our emotions, because you have to be in your emotions. You have to feel your emotions in order to release them, right? If you
Mhm.
resist them, that's when they get stuck. So it's not about like not wanting to feel a certain way. If you don't want to feel a certain way, then you have to feel it so that it goes away.
Mhm. Yes, yes.
Because emotions are just energy in motion. So make sure you're feeling them. But again, it's not like Cancerian energy. If you have Cancer placements and you're drowning, it means you need to learn to come to shore. Like
Mhm.
you really need to understand how to get out of that, how to chill on the beach. And it's interesting because the tropical algorithm is based on the Tropic of Cancer and
Mhm.
Capricornus, which of course is
Mhm.
incorrect technically. Physically, mathematically is incorrect, but neither here nor there. That is the tropic energy, and they rule the beach. And Capricornus is the sign that needs to remember you need to get that mermaid tail wet. They're
Mhm.
very, very earthy. They love climbing those mountains of success, but they need to remember to go into the water and keep that tail wet and relax and kind of what it's all worth it and make sure that the things that you're building and the mountains that you're climbing are really worth the oasis that you're creating for yourself. So the Capricorn Cancer axis or Capricornus Cancer axis for me is like Cancer needs to come to shore, Capricorn needs to go into the water. So they really balance themselves out in terms of their relationship with the earth and water elements.
Yeah, and you know what? Gosh, because okay, I wanted you to remind me. I want you to say the thing that you said also before we got on the call about the way that you truly sense the Cancer Capricorn energy in a minute. But what you just said there too was like, dang, that's why I've kind of, because I was saying that before the call that I also sense that Cancer energy, which I know you do too, as the mother, like so much this mother energy. But I was, envisioning that too in this way with the shore and just the sand and the ground of the ocean is like, she's holding all of this water and to like learn how to do that. But what you said that made me think of a, what's the word? Not opposing thought, but where I still do kind of sense that Capricorn energy in a bit of a masculine way is just like what you described, where it is such like this provider kind of energy.
Mhm.
So I know what you were speaking to earlier, that there's a distortion in that way, but I do very much sense it like that, but that can mean many things. And then just remind me as we get into this, perhaps if I can remember to bring back in, I have in one of the charts that I sent you, this 3740 channel that we will be is kind of like an important thing happening in this transit time. And that is not at all in Cancer or Capricorn, but it is very much this vibe that we're speaking to in this way too. So I just wanted to say that so that I don't maybe forget later. But then,
Yeah.
yeah, now you share what you were saying
Mhm.
about like the Cancer, true Capricorn energy.
Yeah, so beforehand, I used to think that Cancer was the mother and Capricornus was the father.
Mhm.
However, learning more about Capricornus, it is a feminine sign, and a lot of the axis of motherhood is actually the Capricorn and Capricornus Cancer axis. And for me, the father is through Leo and Aquarius. And
Mhm.
so a lot of the distortions that come through Capricornus, which are kind of what we see as the distorted patriarchy, government structures, and things today that come through Capricornus because they are distorted male dominated. Not saying they shouldn't be male dominated,
Mhm.
but they should be led by the matriarchal forces.
Mhm.
So, for example, it's not that every woman needs to be climbing up that hill or that mountain, but it's what the you could even say it as the the oasis that a woman is
Mhm.
the stimulating factor for the man to climb that mountain, and
Yeah.
she makes it worth it.
Uh-huh.
It's like it's that divine feminine code that comes through there, and through her spiritual and emotional oasis that she is for the masculine, it makes it worth it for him, but she is also energetically directing him, even though he is the one that is taking those actions.
Mhm.
And you can kind of see that, how that would play out in social structures and governments. It's not that, women necessarily have to be in those positions, but when you have that healthy Capricornus energy as a woman in a man's life, then he's going to be making the right choices in his position of leadership in terms of, job and government and however he's showing up. So that's
Yeah.
how I see the Cancer Capricornus axis, which
Yeah.
is probably a good segue into the new moon
Yeah.
because we have the new moon that is going to be on the 24th, on July 24th. It's peaking at 11:13 p.m. And it's not necessarily super close to a particular star, but I was channeling that it is activating the beehive cluster of Cancer. So this stimulates the hive mind mentality in the collective. So we will probably be noticing more group consciousness is happening. Many divine feminines are going to be rising. The matriarchy rises once more. And there's going to be a collective of women who are really rising to a queen bee status. So it's really about calling in your hive and recognizing if you are in that shift, or if you're in that wave, I should say, of this occurring. And this is in, so the moon is going to be, the sun and moon is going to be in opposition to Pluto, which is still obviously in the Sagittarius Capricornus void. We will talk more about that when we get to Pluto. But this is going to be challenging a lot of the perceptions of the masses when it comes to the current social structures. So, governments and things like that. Pluto is obviously the change maker there, and we'll talk more about that. But um, this is really going to be changing the status quo, that is for sure. And then it is also um, blank tile Uranus. So it's sextile Uranus, but apparently sextile is a no-no word if I post this clip on Instagram. So it's sextile Uranus, but I'm going to say it's blank tile Uranus, which is at the Pleiades. So this is a really, really big, amazing activation, and we'll talk more about this when we get to Uranus as well. But with the moon sextile Uranus during this time, it is stimulating Uranus, since it's activating the Pleiades, to move in a direction and ensure that all of our science, technology, engineering, mathematics, AI are starting to and continuing to be developed for both the good of human consciousness and human bodies, as well as the planet in general. And then we also have the moon is going to be trine both Saturn and Neptune, which are hugging in Pisces, technically in the Pisces Cetus void. So, by the way, this is Cetus under here.
Mhm.
Um, and so Neptune Saturn conjunction is really, really great, which we can talk about more later. But because it's trine both Saturn and Neptune in Pisces and the Cetus star system, it's going to be causing a lot of spiritual recalibrations in the collective consciousness, for the good of spiritual alignment through Neptune, as well as the long-term stability of society itself through Saturn. So I'm really looking forward to this new moon. Again, even though there's going to be absolutely a lot of crying, there's going to be a lot
Yeah,
of waters.
I'm not looking
But
forward to it.
I am. I love to cry. Amber and I were discussing this before. It's like I make myself
But
cry multiple times a week. Like I
no,
just love it.
I do. I really do too. I have no problem with crying, but I don't know. This is so interesting because yeah, I'm curious too if you experience there's been a really big shift for me in let's say last 6 to 9 months where I used to enjoy most new moons more. I always liked full moons too, but it's shifted a lot for me where no, new moons, it's so dark. I mean, it's so dark. And I mean, yes, like and it's just it's a hard, heavy time for me.
Oh,
So,
well, I'm
yeah,
sending you hugs in
yeah,
advance. For
thank
me, the new moon eclipse that we had was definitely a very uh yeah, darker and more intense time. But
you.
other than that, I feel like I've gotten on a pretty utopian timeline for myself. So thankfully, I feel like a lot of that is kind of behind me, which I'm very thankful for. But I still can go into the depth darks if I need to, or the deep
Yeah,
darkness if I need to. But
yeah,
um, yeah, thankfully both full moons and new moons are pretty good for me. But still, if full moons, I usually just like to chill. I don't like to go out.
yeah.
Sag full moon is always a really fun time for me. I'm usually
Mhm.
partying like around then and just like having fun and being in the pool and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
um, it's been a pretty good full moons for me. Um, but this new moon, it kind of feels like as these queen bees are rising, it's like you don't necessarily, it may not necessarily be the honey. It's like your tears can be the pheromones that call your hive in to an extent. So I feel like there's definitely a very raw vulnerability that the feminine is going through in order to truly call in their hive. And the whole point of the hive mind is to create something together. So it feels like a lot of people are going to be connected with groups in order for them to build something meaningful, sustainable, and of course, beehives are matriarchal forces and they
Mhm.
use sacred geometry and such. So I'm really excited to see who creates what and how people are rising. Yeah, I'm just excited to see what happens during that time.
Yeah.
And you have a new moon.
Yeah, I do. If you want, also, we can look back just
Oh,
at
yeah.
you can go to the new moon chart itself, which it's kind of
Okay. Which
blank
I
the
think
way that
is it
I,
this one?
um, yes, well, we can look at this one first because it has
Okay.
more information. Like we kind of just glossed over it already,
Hmm.
transit wise.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can look at some of the actual details of it because
Oh.
on the actual new moon slide that I had sent you, normally like whenever I post that, there'll be more there, like some kind of like an actual reading from me. But I just like to wait till I'm closer to the actual day to really like feel into it. So I didn't add it on what I sent you. But um yeah, for the I have let me look at my note here too real quick before I look at
Mhm.
actually that slide because I'm loving that actually what we said in the beginning you're doing here in this way. It feels like bringing some lightness from the stars into the very heaviness that I was feeling like gene keys and genetic coding way that's going to be clearing. So
Mhm.
that could also very much kind of explain right there too why sometimes I'm experiencing these things in different ways. If that makes sense, just because this is what I'm attuned to. So I'm kind of like never not in Shadowland anymore. It's just kind of like where I live now, I think, but
Yeah.
not, I'm with you, not like it was over the last few years. But the notes that I have from especially like the new moon is just and I know we haven't gotten to the retrogrades yet, but the combination that many more are going to be amping up at this time um, is it's just going to be kind of I think heavy in our body, and maybe more so for those who haven't done a lot of clearing in this way, you know.
Mhm. Which I think most of the collective has not.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right. Which is I think that's what too many times I'm I won't fully get into it just because it's hard to explain, but what I'm transmitting, um, I'm feeling like I'm not feeling things in the collective the way that we do when we're first beginning the ascension process and we're just like actually trying to get the hell through those like frequency fences and shit. But it's like I must feel what they're feeling to know how to transmit what's coming through me kind of deal.
Mhm.
Um, so I just felt like we're just going to get so freaking grounded. And that sounds nice, but I don't think it's going to feel super nice because I think a lot of fear, is going to have to come out of this root center. And then, like I said, but then being forced into not doing anything to get out of that fear. So just finding truly like the center in our root in not just the normally when we're saying like find your center, find your 0 point, it's kind of very like heart chakra related. It's very like no that this is that, but it's very much like what you keep saying too about true cancer energy is it's like the what did you say, like the foundation or the ground of the
The emotional root. Yeah,
yeah.
cancer is the emotional root of
Yes.
everything.
Yes, and that's yes. And for those of us, right, who are cool with crying and love it and have cleared so much by now, like that's not too heavy, but for so many, I think they're going to be getting in touch with like deep shit within them that they've never really actually sat with. And like you said too, for the divine feminines, because I have sensed this for a little bit too, like whoa, like another a pretty big wave of like you brand new divine feminines is going to be awakened and coming online. So I'm curious if that's what you're feeling and speaking to too, in the ways of with the beehive cluster and all of that, because it feels like a new kind of ascension energetic coming online just fully like through the collective in that way. Um, and that it's just going to be challenging. It's going to be challenging for divine feminines to learn that truly, non-action is action for them, and to really get
Yes.
super deep
Yes.
into that core for themselves. Um, and I
Divine,
said,
it's like divine rest for sure. Like the
yeah,
best thing you can do as a divine feminine is rest, do nothing, just be with a capital B and like
be,
beehive cluster
yes,
too. Yeah, like do be. And
yes.
that is the best thing that you can do. And I think what you touched upon in terms of the energy of releasing fear, the point of releasing fear is to instill safety. And, so many people will resist feeling fear because, you hear about it of like, oh, don't be afraid or, don't feed the fear. And it's not about being fearful, but if you have fear stuck in your root, you have to feel it to get it out. It's
Hmm.
not necessarily that anything can hurt you or harm you, right? There's a difference between being in fear and actually being in real danger. And of course, danger exists sometimes. Not in
Hmm.
my life, but it's just good to recognize when this fear is coming up, where it's coming from, and allow it to release. So, because it's coming from the root, that there can be a lot of like yoni things, even that are like fear released from the yoni that can happen. So,
Yes.
like,
Well, yes.
yeah.
And look at the synchronicity here with on the right slide there. It goes perfectly with gene key 58. This is where the Earth and Pluto will be.
Mm.
Now, not quite. Yes, they will. They'll still be there for the actual new moon. They will be aligned while the moon and sun are aligned. But
You want me to pull that
n-
chart
no,
up?
not yet.
Okay.
Hang on just a
Okay.
second. Just because look at what it says there under Gene Key 58. What it's trying to bring through to us from this code in the I Ching is both of these, the top and bottom part of the hexagram are both, it's lake over lake. This is what like the element in the Chinese way of how they set these up in the I Ching works. But then it's speaking to basically that it says a lake on its own evaporates sooner. Joined together, they replenish each other. It
Ah,
literally also says sharing knowledge, insights, um, cross pollination, or I said
wow.
cross
That's
pollinate,
amazing,
right?
amazing. That is
Yes,
so
yes,
bee
but
energy.
yes, but do you know what I've been sensing though? And this makes
Huh.
sense though too, because then look at what the bottom though says here, where and I there's so it's this is what I love. There's so much information in the I Ching. I have many different resources that I use for it. I mean, it's deep. It's super deep. So like this is, I just intuitively pick and choose which sentences feel right, right? But I felt it very important also in this time too to add this part where it says a gentle warning, remain guarded. When you share your joy or exchange knowledge, no matter how sincere you are, there will be those who seek to exploit your knowledge.
Mm.
So where I was, it's funny because when you were beginning to speak about the bee and the beehive, and then the just group energy, I was like, oh, like this is kind of because what's weird is I've been kind of sensing this not opposite thing, like that's definitely occurring, but what I've been sensing also occurring through it and like as the purpose of it is basically this bottom line that I just read, where it's like, oh, yeah, you're being drawn into groups, but it's actually to masterfully help keep refining that discernment. That might not even be your group, lady. Like,
Yeah.
so just that's another thing to add in here too, that
Yeah.
I
Also,
feel,
weeding them out because like once you're connected to your actual hive, you're all resonating at a certain frequency. That's literally what bees do. They hum, I guess, is how I'll describe it, at a certain frequency. And
yes.
if you notice someone's not on the same frequency, they're going to stick out like a sore thumb. If they're there to siphon or steal, there are so many critters that love to steal honey from the hive. And so, if there's a
Yes.
bear nose in there or I don't know, anything else that a raccoon or something, like you are going
Yes.
to notice.
Yes, very much. And that's what else is just personally, very recently had that exact same kind of experience. And it was like, what? Like, so just, I feel like that is going to be a lot of others' experiences in this time too. That, so just beware, go in, but I feel like what it's going to teach is exactly like what I experienced and how I've learned to be better in those kind of new experiences in my life, is being open enough to go have an experience, but discerning enough to be like, oh no, fuck no, you're not my piece.
Exactly.
Oh fuck no.
Yeah. It's like it's open enough to let people show you who they are
Yes.
and discerning enough to say, I don't like you or,
Uh-huh.
I love you sort of thing.
Yep. Yep.
So, yeah, I totally agree. I've also recently gone through that experience. I feel like a lot of people who are in high priestess status have been experiencing that a lot lately.
Yes. Yes. It's so challenging. And then the other code here, just to bring in the details of Gene Key 52, kind of goes along with exactly what I was saying too, just that basically we're being taught how to be silent and still more, like have that gift level of restraint so that we can keep refining our self mastery, and to be just to learn to be still and tall like the mountain, like that doesn't have to. I think it's in this same one. Remember, no, it's not. There's another mountain code that we'll see from the root but where it's just like you're a fucking mountain. Like, don't worry. Like people will they're either going to see that you are or they're not.
Mhm.
Like, so just be that. But about this is where in this new moon time, it's like remain still. Like just see what it is we're speaking to, and a different path will be cleared for you, is what Gene Key 52 is bringing through. But it's like, what I see so many people doing, period, in life, but in especially intuitive endeavors or whatever, is it's like they don't know how to get still enough and then stay still enough to have those normally two probability fields come into play. So instead, it's like there's still enough just for more of those quantum possibilities to start, kind of like forming. But then they're like, oh, I should go this way. I should go that way. I should do this. I should. And it's like, dude, you're just jumping in on all the possibilities and you're not sitting here long enough to see what are the actual probabilities that are trying to come through. You got to sit a little bit longer to
Mhm.
see that, so I feel like that's very much that
Yeah,
thing
and
too.
that's also a really great point because, Cancerian energy does very well when rested. Obviously, both
Mhm.
Capricornus and Cancer do, but Cancer is a sign that rules over the home. It rules over, domestic things and also, comfort, like the comfort of home and like home cooking and things like that. So a lot of it is like you need to sit with yourself. And if you're uncomfortable sitting with yourself, okay, well, then you need to get to the emotional root of that program and clear it so that you actually feel at home in your body. And that's also, the Cancerian codes of, its house is its body, pretty
Mhm.
much. I mean, it lives in the ocean, it goes in the sand, but like it goes inside of its shell. And so if you consider your house sort of your shell, your protective outer layer, You should feel safe inside of your body and inside of your home, and it should be comfy and cozy. So, all these divine feminines that are doing that work, if they're in a space where they don't feel comfortable in their body or their home, it's definitely some deeper work regarding that. And again, it does feel
Yeah.
like a lot of uh, fear to be released, to be replaced with true safety codes in the room.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then if you want to go to the next slide, again, there's not like
Yeah.
much information here, but it's just like a
This
good
one?
visual for what we spoke about. Or no, sorry, it's the
Is it this one?
one
The one
that
before that?
says
Okay.
new moon that looks like all black, you
Oops.
know?
Oops. Oops. Sorry, I accidentally clicked the wrong one. It slid on me. Okay, let's see. This one. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
the one on the
perfect.
left. Yeah.
Okay.
So just, yeah, it's just basically what we went over on the more detailed screen before of the 58 information of the
Mhm.
52. But just, a nice visual of on the actual new moon day and time, this is what's going on as far as the moon, sun, Pluto, and Earth being aligned, and that they're in these codes. The
Mhm.
sun and moon are in the 52, and then the Earth and Pluto are in the 58. So
And I guess I'll ask you the same question that I asked you in the last episode that you were in, or I'm not sure if I know I did, but I don't remember exactly what it was. But I asked you about like a specific day. I think it was the day we did the podcast of like what type of human design would the chart of
mhm,
that day have. So I'll ask you about the
yeah,
new moon, like if it were a person, what type of human
a,
design
a reflector.
archetype or type, right? Is that what it is? Type?
Yeah,
Type.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. What kind of type would it be?
It would be a reflector. We've been
A
having
reflector.
a reflector kind of energy every day for a while now, which is also kind of odd. Which just means no channels are connecting. Now, this isn't true in I won't super go into it because it'll be a little confusing, but remember whenever also on like the chart, if you want to actually maybe go back to where you can see a chart of this week, the one that we were at right before this one.
This one?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
the one on the left of the new
Mhm.
moon. So like what she was just asking is if you look at the left chart, that body graph being that all of the centers are open and they're all white. They're not open but undefined. That's what a reflector's chart looks like. It means they have no consistent definition. What I was gonna say is that per true, like not true, but just the way human design is like in our natal chart it's also showing us mapping for the like it's like 2 to 3 months before we actually incarnated of like what those placements where they were in the sky like 2 to 3 months before we were born. um so like technically like a true human design chart showing all of that wouldn't be a reflector, but whenever I'm bringing through this transit information, I'm doing it in a little bit of a different way too. It's not different, it's just most relevant because we just want to know where everything actually is in the sky. This isn't
Mhm.
a being that's incarnating. This is just the sky. So, um, no need to see it, with all of the other placements the way normal, like our natal human design chart would look. So,
Definitely. Yeah, I'm just curious because as I'm, learning the basics of human design, I'm going to try to feel the day as its own sort of creature.
it's been a reflector too because we haven't been having really any channel activations lately. You'll see some from some other charts that I sent you. We are going to start getting some, but it's getting I think into yeah, like as we're full moon time, we're going to start getting some definition there. And I think I don't know, maybe that's what I'm feeling too because even in sensing into this in that way like you're saying, I mean, what better being than to be this Cancerian mother? I'm holding all of the water energy than a completely undefined being like this. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
um, it would make sense and it's going along very well too with just the vibes of the chart, that as we are getting closer to full moon and then getting into Leo season, that it's like, okay, guys, okay,
Hmm.
we could have some more definition. We got some more shit going on here, you know?
Yeah, and that's a great time to go into the full moon. So we have a full moon in Capricornus that is going to be coming up on August 9th. It peaks at 3:56 a.m. There we go. And so we have the full moon here, and it is activating these three Capricornus stars. So Theta Capricorni, Iota Capricorni, and Zeta Capricorni. So this is definitely giving Trinity codes within Capricornus, so a lot of creation stuff. Since it's a full moon, we're going to be releasing creations that do not promote for the general welfare of society. This is dismantling social structures, government bodies, and workplaces, corporations that are not for the common good. It definitely gives corrupt systems are crumbling vibes for sure. And it's all in order to reinstall the organic functioning into the Capricornus star system, which, as we lightly touched upon, have to do with, governments and social structures, but that are actually for the common good, and they should be matriarchal driven. So these things should be supporting the family unit. They should be supporting the creators, which are the women, the mothers. So we will see that shift beginning, especially around this full moon. It's going to be a big one, is what I was really feeling. And especially because Pluto is, which we'll talk about Pluto at the end, but Pluto is, inching its way into Capricornus. And that's really when we're going to see, like, I'm going to say shit hit the fan, because it is a bunch of shit that needs to go. It's going to hit the fan, and then
Mhm.
we're going to have to clean up the doo-doo. So,
Mhm.
yeah, things are not going to get easier for the collective for quite some time.
Mhm.
We'll just say it that way. Um,
Mhm.
and the new moon is opposing the sun, of course, as all new moons do. And the sun is in the Cancer Capricorn, or sorry, the Cancer Leo void, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Technically, it is still within the Cancerian star system, according to the Sky app. On calculators, you would see differently. So, um, I take this as Cancer Leo void, so it's helping balance, the solar energy of both the emotional home space through the Cancerian star system and true sovereignty codes of the Leo star system. We're also going to have the sun that is aligned with Ursa Major stars at this time, so that is some like very big protective matriarchal energy that comes through Ursa Major. Very shielding and protective. So that energy is going to be highlighted around the full moon as well. And then let's see. Do you want me to pull up the uh, chart?
Yes, that's what I was just looking at too as you were speaking
Is it
to it.
this one?
Let's see. Yeah, so the one, yeah, on the left, yep, is the full moon. But what we'll do is they can see a visual of this for a moment, but then we'll come back to it, but then let's go to you can maybe do either the full moon one that says 61 and 62 first for a second, but then we'll go into the one that says sun and earth in 62 and 61, just because it'll bring in some of the details.
Is this the right one?
No, go to the next week. I think it's week of
Oh,
eight.
8/8.
Eight.
Okay, yeah, I think I found it. Is it this one?
Yeah, so that's perfect. They're on the
Okay,
same screen. Perfect.
awesome.
So yeah, so that's what I was just looking at, um how perfect this is in every way of what you were just describing, also meaning even that the moon and earth are in gene key 61, and what is the shadow? Psychosis. So,
Yeah.
which is what everyone has been under, that thinks that all of these structures and systems that we live by and call life are fine and normal.
Yeah.
And like they actually don't even think they're just normal. They think they're giving them life. And we're like, I'm
Opposite,
pretty,
opposite.
I'm pretty sure it's actually stealing your life. Okay, let's
Yeah.
flip it and reverse it, guys.
Uh-huh.
So again, the one on the right is just kind of, visual, not much information, but it's showing you the actual full moon. So full moon, Earth in 61, and then sun will be in 62. But if you look at the one, then on the left of, I'm going to look at my screen while I'm saying this. Of gene key 61 being, yes, it's only showing Earth there, but this is also where the moon will be for the full moon, is this massive change that I was speaking to that I feel coming after going through all of what cancer season is going to bring everyone through. Um, but still with this, like it's wind over lake energy, and then it's saying, the wind reaches everywhere, bringing new messages of change, but do not rush to judge others. The answer to a difficult question is arrived at only when you are receptive to truth. So that's a really big, huge factor in this one too that I love about this code is it's like it's so much this code of like if you're still under the spell of psychosis, truth can be smacking you left and right in the face all day and you're never gonna fucking wake up. So
Mhm.
are you ready to wake up? Because the truth is too, the things you will see is normally not pretty. Everyone thinks they want truth. Oh, I want truth. Truth is not for the faint of heart in all kinds of ways, right? Like
Yeah.
collectively.
And there's no going back, too. Once you see it, you can't
Exactly.
unsee it.
Exactly, exactly. And not enough people are speaking to that, like the other side of the journey that just, yeah, talk about void space. Yeah, like once you wake up to the truth in especially bigger ways about just the world,
Hmm.
yeah, welcome to the void space. You're going to be there for probably years. So you better get comfy, like not obviously exactly physically in our sky like that, but internally, yes, that's what occurs. So but then yeah, it's saying too about the 61, like on the brink of awakening, be responsive, not reactionary. Oh, this was another part I loved about it that's bringing in like our beehive talk is this is where I'm feeling like full circle integration of what occurred through cancer, through all of that group weeding in and out kind of energy is then it's speaking to fellowship, and it says fellowship is not in itself noble. The unprincipled have fellowship, but such bonds can be broken without principles. Peace and unity come not from fellowship, but from faith. So, what I have been sensing us continuing to be like more and more prepared for, honestly, is another thing that is a part of human design cosmology, meaning they it's we're moving out of an age that's called the cross of planning into an age that's called cross of the sleeping phoenix.
I
And
remember reading your post on that. Yeah.
yeah, so I've actually just recorded. I'm not sure if I'm going to release it, but perhaps it was a very raw recording that I made for maybe my next podcast episode.
I expect nothing less from Phoenix codes for sure. I'm a
well,
Phoenix myself, so.
well, yes, it got a bit personal though, not personal in names. I will never do such a thing in that way with my work, but with my group experience that I had in meaning to what I'm trying to get at is in 2027, the cross of sleeping phoenix age is going to be upon us, which is the freaking abolishment of all groups. And of course, that doesn't mean in complete totality, right? We're humans. We're always going to have some kind of communal tribal nature of some sorts, but are we? That's the thing. That's what I've been forced into more and more pondering. I don't think eventually now, but I do think that's going to take hundreds of years to get to, right? So what this code in this time is just reminding me of in the full moon is like a lot of that energy too, of just being like, am I in group for group's sake. Like, why am I here actually? Like, do I need a group? Do they need me? Again, nothing against the group, nothing against that. And you do need it at certain stages in in whatever it is you're working through, healing, ascension, all the things. But I'm just feeling a massive kind of truth coming through in that way in particular too. That has been honestly shocking me because I've been like so open to that idea, and then recently, I don't know, just seeing and feeling things in a lot different kinds of ways, and in that way, regarding fellowship groups. And then where let's see, the sun will be, so, at the time of the full moon, obviously I take into account very much, I'm sure you do too, but like as far as in my posts now, the way that I'm trying to share for full moon is reminding people that we're getting very strong light codes from the sun. So it's very important that we're knowing where the sun is too in these times. Um, so for being in Gene Key 62, it's saying this is like thunder over mountain energy, and it's saying a noble one's actions rest on a firm knowledge of limits, but also move beyond them, which is just still very much that vibe of what I'm speaking to, where it's just like a very deep know thyself, but then this energy is in our throat center. So it's just very like kind of, I'm just this is who the fuck I am. Either you're good with that and we're good, or you're not. And then I love too how it's also saying do everything there is to do a little better than everybody else. So sorry, all recovering perfectionists, me. Don't do it
Yeah,
too good,
yeah.
recovering perfectionists or heavy Virgo charts.
Yeah,
Um,
that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm a recovering sixth house stellium.
right? Um, but it says initiate small changes towards your goal. It's not the proper time to strive upward. Instead, strive downward. Seek not from the heavens, seek from the underworld. It is not time for expanding, it is time for refining. So, quite funny because that's kind of going against what I was feeling in the way of like, dang, we've been through all of these massive, root clearings, balancings, like, whew, let's bloom out, let's do this thing. But I feel like more so what that's speaking to is like I'm saying the throat energy here of the 62 being like, yes, that's actually going to be occurring in your embodiment, but like maybe you don't need to blast it out to the world yet. Like let's just wait. Like let's just hang on. We just went through a lot. Kind of vibe. So,
Mhm. Yeah, it's kind of like I garden a lot, so I get a lot of like spiritual messages, I guess, like while I'm gardening, um, or energetic, I guess, principles. So it's like we're doing all this root work, which is kind of like, okay, if you have something toxic in your soil that your roots have been soaking up, you have to sort of flush it out with the water.
mhm,
So, allowing that to happen. And even cutting off some branches, cutting things off. I also take cancer energy as like emotional umbilicals. So what is
mm,
tethered to you emotionally that is feeding from you? There's a lot of siphon systems that can come through
mm,
Cancerian energy. Obviously, there's healthy ones like between mother and child. That
mhm,
bond never has to
mhm,
be broken in a healthy way, but a lot of people enter into dynamics of parent-child when they're not necessarily parent-child, and those are the
mhm,
biggest siphon systems that I see coming through the Cancerian star system. But also, that's the thing with gardening as well. You have to, pull things out by the root of things that are trying to absorb your moisture,
mm,
absorb your nutrients. You have to prune some of your branches and things, and it totally makes sense to wait after this process is done, because it's kind of like whether you're blooming the flower or, maybe that flower is getting fertilized to fruit. It takes time.
mhm,
Even for the flower to form and the flower to fully bloom, it definitely takes time. So that's
mhm.
the imagery I was seeing when you were talking about it. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's that makes sense.
I'm loving too. You'll see once we get to these, but like there's two things you've said now about like seemingly other things, right? We know everything is connected, but
Hmm.
that are so closely related to I Ching information that I have for Neptune, Saturn retrograde, but also Black Moon Lilith code that we're in through all of
Hmm.
this time is so spot on, just with like
Oh,
a
excellent.
woman's role and then
Yeah.
like what you just said, like this parent-child thing. I mean,
Mhm.
it's like so resonant with what you just said, very much.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, well then are you ready to move on to Mercury?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So let's see here. All right. Mercury, y'all. I love Mercury, my ruling planet. So Mercury is right now in the Cancerian star system. It is leaving the Cancerian star system, but guess what? It's going into the Cancer Leo void, but will not reach Leo because we have a Mercury retrograde. So the pre-retrograde shadow period began on July 5th. And so whatever themes began at that time that you've been noticing the past couple weeks, you can expect those to be amplified during this Mercury retrograde. So for those who may be unfamiliar with Mercury retrograde, it is a very, famous, I feel like it's becoming very mainstream. um,
Mhm.
because it's undeniable, right? Everyone is noticing Mercury. Mercury is a very close planet. And it is a time where people, places, and things from the past arise once more. It can also cause technological issues, glitches, and things like that, which I think is the most common thing that people notice that's just completely undeniable, is that, computers will go down, systems will go down, things like that. Instagram usually goes down every single Mercury retrograde. And Mercury retrograde happens 3 to 4 times a year. There's no reason to fear this whatsoever. It's just part of the routine Mercury maintenance on our planet. Mercury retrograde also causes delay in travel, delay in general. It's generally advised to not sign any contracts during Mercury retrograde unless it's a contract that you have been trying to get signed for some time and it's finally going through during Mercury retrograde, then it's usually good to go. But making any sort of new big purchases or contracts, off the cuff during Mercury retrograde is not advised. It's usually brings regret and things like that. On the upside, it's a great time for you to revisit things, reassess things, reanalyze things, redo things, retry things, anything that you've been meaning to do. Mercury retrograde is a great time to do that. If you have like a project on the back burner, it typically moves with ease during Mercury retrograde. So the Mercury retrograde is in Cancer. So this is going to highlight one's emotional foundation, emotional regulation, the maternal lineage, what feels like home, and just general comfort in general, of course, as the body, as the home, and then comfort of your actual sacred space. And, Mercury in Cancer in general is very emotion based. So a lot of it can be communicating with emotions rather than words. So make sure that you're actually using your throat chakra so that there's no misunderstandings. Um, and it's important, especially during the retrograde, to keep your emotions in check, especially during confrontation, because, Cancer has that claw. It can be quite aggressive, when feeling threatened or emotionally threatened. So just keep that in mind. So Mercury is going to station retrograde. So it's going to stay still in the sky, appear to stay still in the sky on the 17th and the 18th. And then the actual retrograde movement begins on the 19th. So it's going to move backwards. It's technically just doing a loop like this. Well, I guess my finger like this. But it appears to go backwards in the sky. So that's what retrograde motion is. It's just normal orbital pattern. All the planets do this. Um, and so on the 25th, it's going to be activating acubins of Cancer, and this is known as the Claw. This star is associated with the am, so not necessarily the I am, but the am. So it's like what we perceive, what we are, or what is with certainty. So it's like it is this way, like that is that. So it's a lot of very Um, it's like part of solidifying matter through emotional programs. So whatever's happening in your emotional realm that you think is certain, um, and how that materializes into it can come through acumens. This star is also really great at problem solving, finding solutions to things. They're very resourceful. Like natives are very resourceful if you have this star activated in your chart. And this star is also really great at getting its way. So with Mercury retrograding and activating acubins, just be aware of that energy because this energy brings the ability to get others to do what you want them to do. And that can also be part of this hive mind collective that's coming through the beehive. And also probably part of the disintegration of some groups. People may notice that they are being manipulated in this type of way, and typically through this star, it's through emotional manipulation. This star is often depicted as a whip. So, that's obviously the more domineering and dominating energy and shadow aspect of this star, but just be careful not to be manipulated by anybody sort of with the whip in hand. Um, but also make sure that you are directing others as you see fit, right? It's not that we should never listen to each other. Sometimes you have to direct people. So, a great example would be parent-child. You don't want to do it with a whip, but you want to make sure that your child is following directions and things like that, or, if you're working on a project together, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and so it's very important during Mercury retrograde that you are communicating very clearly and, um, not allowing things to get too harsh around this time when Mercury is activating acubens. Because oftentimes information can get quite muddled during Mercury retrograde. So around here, it's very good to just be very, very clear. As my throat is like,
I'm hearing that. I'm like, wait a
yeah,
second.
I'm gonna have to
Okay,
get some more water
Mercury.
soon.
Okay.
And then we have Mercury continuing to retrograde, and then we have the Sun Mercury conjunction, like around 7:31, 8:1, I would say. And that is really great. I love Sun conjunct Mercury. It's, the sun's bringing a lot of Mercury retrograde issues to light around this time. So anything that you need to redo with your Mercury retrograde, which typically Mercury retrogrades, the cycles that are, brought to the forefront. Obviously, people, places, and things from the past are going to be very blatant on what those lessons are. But in general, it's lessons of communication, whether that's the way you communicate with others or your internal dialogue of how you're communicating. It's also the planet of your daily routine. So anything in your daily routine that needs to improve or maybe get deleted is something that is going to, come up quite starkly during Mercury retrograde. And most notably, health things. So mental health and physical health also come through Mercury. So those can be like really, really big. And around this time, the sun is going to be shining light on that. So Mercury is going to be um, kind of dancing around the beehive cluster for a while. Um, and on the 11th, it is going to continue its, it will go back to direct movement. Yeah, on the 11th, it will station direct. So it will go back to its normal orbital pattern. It will no longer be appearing to move backwards in the sky. So as we can see, Mercury is moving forward. And it's going to get closer to the beehive cluster, and then it's going to be activating Acellus Australis around the 19th, 20th, which, the sun is going to be occulting that star. I didn't talk about it, but this star is connected to a lot of domestic duties and work around the home, as well as, the comfort of the home. So a lot of those Cancerian energies that we talked about in terms of, domestic home stuff, this is the star that is very highly activated. So if you have this in your chart, likely you're a homebody, like spend time at home and things like that. This star is also associated with how our emotions influence the weather. So it's a great star to connect with if we're trying to shut down systems like HARP and DARPA and all that sort of stuff. So Um, Notice how you feel during this day when Mercury's activating Acellus Australis and how the weather is playing out, or people around you, how they're feeling, and things like that. Um, it's a very powerful star for that. So usually, if you have this activated in your chart, your emotional body is heavily tied into how weather is materializing. It's also associated with the gift of being able to view into the past. So what I find with a lot of people who have this, that they have the ability, it's some sort of clair, I forget the name of it, but it's like you can touch an object and see the history of that object, or you're able to look into the past of something, like go to a certain site and like feel what has happened there. So that's quite common with this star. So with Mercury there, we may be getting communication from the past. Maybe it's our past self. Maybe there are some people from the past, because this star is also associated with ghosts. So people who have this in their chart typically can see ghosts, can connect to the departed, but on a more energetic level, it is also associated with like ghosts of our own past, like the emotional burdens that can get stuck in our soul that cause the soul fragmentation of a ghost. So it's like the unfinished, unresolved emotional, whatever it may be, that didn't happen, that causes a soul to depart but still remain on this plane in a way. So a lot of ghost stuff comes through this star. So definitely, it can be, there can be some heavy emotional burdens that come through this star, and it's really important for any native who has a star and activated in their chart to make sure that they keep their emotional body very fluid so that they don't have that heaviness, so that they don't end up with regrets and end up as a ghost. So there's a lot of like energetic loops that can happen in this star. And that's already past the 15th, but I just wanted to complete the whole Mercury retrograde energy and talk about this star since I didn't talk about it when the sun was there.
Yeah.
So notice when the sun's there, Mercury's there, y'all. If you are seeing ghosts, if you're connecting to the departed, come back to this video and drop a comment.
That's super interesting. I loved all of that you just shared about that. That's very, very cool.
Yeah. And I know you had some Mercury retrograde stuff I'm trying to find.
Yeah. So first, yeah, just go to because yeah, I was kind of then jumping ahead too as you were sharing that, seeing that okay, but yeah, go to the Mercury retrograde one first. You'll see like it has just the little picture of Mercury on there, but the black
Is it
should be
the
from the first week, like
okay,
the
week of
week.
7/16?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So just go to
Is it this
wherever
one?
that.
Is it the one on the right? Is that Mercury?
Yes, yes,
Okay, I thought so. On my screen, it's really small, so I can't read the
yes,
text.
yes.
So that's why I have to ask you.
No, yeah, that's
All right,
perfect.
and yeah, if you want to dive into this, I'm just gonna go get some water, so I'm gonna step out for a minute.
Okay, yep, sounds good.
Okay.
So yeah, everything that I loved everything that she was sharing because it's just, again, vibing so well with the deepness of what this code represents. Now, it's going to be beginning in Gene Key 53, but then going, still backwards into 39. So for 53 in the I Ching, this is known also as steadfast and gradual progress. And then the 39 is known as an impasse and limping. So it's just got this, very we're moving slowly kind of energy still, because we're back into, not back, but Mercury is also moving through a lot of these codes that I spoke to that the sun and the earth are going to be transiting into. So we're in the root center here. So the for the 53, this elemental energy is wind over mountain, which was reminding me very much of what Sachi was saying with that kind of ghost energy, just of just wind, period, right? But certainly moving all of the things unseen and seen on a mountain. But then it speaks to just a little bit of the information from the 53 is bonds develop gradually, organically, as raw emotional energies are channeled into lasting partnerships. So, like, what that's speaking to me is a lot of this group energy we keep speaking to in this whole episode. But what this is trying to bring in, I believe, is teachings and experiences more of true soul connections and truly aligned connections are normally very much what that just spoke to, meaning they're slow, they're gradual, they're normally not very like high or low, which is so funny because even I have been tricked by that over and over and over. Like, I know when I meet someone and like sparks are flying, it's normally some karmic shit we have to work through. Like, I should know this by now. And I just still don't sometimes because I will think too, like, oh, yes, I've done the heavy lifting of work and shit. Oh, I've done so much, karmic shit and releases. Anyone that I'm gonna meet now, they're just gonna be, we'll be besties and it's all good. And, and then it's like, no, no, no. It's yes, but it will be this energy. Truly non-karmic kind of relationships, they have the energy I just spoke to, where it's just kind of neutral. And I also don't think people understand what neutral actually really means either. Like, they will speak to it in the light of it having some kind of energy. It's like, no, neutral means kind of like nada, like
Zero
nothing.
sum. Yeah.
Right. So when you're having that in a human interaction, from the state of which we've all been coming from, that can be weird. You're kind of like, I don't really feel I don't really feel much of this or that to that person. And it's like, oh, that's green light, go. That means probably maybe you guys will work out. And then the 39.
Yeah. Can I
Oh,
can
go
I
ahead.
just say something
Oh,
about
oh
that?
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think it's really interesting, especially, as Mercury retrograde brings people of the past as well, is like um a lot of what we have been told and sold throughout our life is that, like, especially in romantic partnerships, is like
Mhm.
um oh, immediate connection, butterflies in your stomach, can't stop thinking about them. Those are all trauma responses.
Oh,
That is your body sending you red flags. And yeah, even my alarms are going off. Like, that is
you're
your
right.
body saying this person is fucking unsafe. They are
Uh-huh.
triggering
Or
your
it's a
fight
high.
or flight.
Yes,
Yeah.
or
Yes.
it's just a truly a fucking high, like a drug, y'all. Like, I
Yes.
see this all the time too with people. I'm obsessed with watching all of the like Love is Blind shows strictly for the reason
Oh, I
of
haven't seen it.
oh my God. It's because I just can't get enough of observing all human behaviors. And it's like a
Yeah.
perfect outlet for me to do so. And especially relational, that's where all of my work is. So I'm just like, whoa, like every fucking time that there's that and they come together, always they end.
Yes.
I'm like, oh
Yes.
shit, oh shit. But it's just still baffling to me too that yeah, people don't understand that. Yeah, that feeling, it's either that it's a trauma response, it's someone that is not going to work out well for you, or
Yeah.
it really just is the high of that chemistry and of it's a drug.
Yeah.
Love is
And
a drug in that
usually,
way.
well, with those responses, usually the high is your cortisol levels. You're
Yes.
usually getting high off of your stress hormones, and it's usually a
Yes.
pretty good precursor that that person's just going to stress you the fuck out.
Right.
Because
Well,
I find relationships like that, it's like, right, that it starts fast and it ends fast. It's just like
mhm,
a flame that just consumes everything and then it's gone.
yes.
Whereas, kind of like how you were talking about a neutral point of like, oh, okay, maybe this will work. Because, like, the people who are good for you, you will feel peaceful around. You won't feel a lot because your body, it feels safe.
Yes.
Like, safe people will not create a bodily response.
Yes. But you know what's so funny is you saying that too is making me want to say this really can all go the other way too, because I've been having so many discussions with a close friend of mine in this way, meaning also what I see happening in the romantic relationship way is people first they just want to have it all. And I'm like, dude, do you not understand you can't have it all? Like there's no
I
perfect
think you can
human.
have it all,
I
but
mean,
you have to do a
well,
lot of work
well,
to be able to
yes, and
receive it all.
you can within, but like no other human being is ever going to check off every fucking box that we can imagine, right? Like it's just not possible. So what I love too, in the kind of the opposite tone of that too, is meaning like people want safety, yet they also want passion. And yes, you can in more balanced ways have that, but not to the extreme again of which people like have this idea of passion. It's like, hey girl, you want passion? Guess what? That does come with a little bit of fear. I don't mean fear in an unhealthy way, but I mean like actually there's a code in the Gene Keys work that has always intrigued me. I don't remember the one right now off the top of my head, but where he speaks to the fact that like basically only male and female are attracted to each other because of this fear factor. It's like when you stop being afraid of the other, then that kind of attraction of which we've known as humans in that like romantic lustful way goes away. Like it's not really there. Now again, I'm not speaking to this in totally extreme ways. Like you can still have some balance here, but I'm speaking to it like in the ways of which we've seen this in the collective thus far, which is extreme, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a rabbit hole.
Hmm. That is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just like overall, the way I see this is just like it's in the same way of a lot of astrological signs and things like that. It's like I see, let's say, you know, an earth sign, more earthy sign person, just having more of your placements in there or whatever. Like it's like you'll kind of always fiend for that opposing energy, but then when they experience it, they're like, whoa, like you're fucking fiery. Like, hang on
Yeah.
here. I'm grounded. I want some stability. You know what I mean? But then people don't ever understand the reality. It's just it's a weird. This is also why I love the Gene Keys work, especially the posts I make of the sun and earth transits, because I said this I think in the last episode that we recorded, that these gene keys, when they're opposing each other, which is always what the sun and earth is bringing us through, they are the exact equal. So they're each other's genetic equal, yet opposite. And
Hmm.
see, when you're experiencing that, to me, that's on varying levels, the man and woman experience, right? But then you're going
Absolutely.
to have some are way more extreme in that way. And what's crazy is, you know, the more you can come together, it brings beautiful harmony. But the journey there is fucking brutal. Like
Yeah.
fucking brutal. And that's what these opposing codes are always bringing us through too, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
opportunity for massive activation and growth, but that means massive challenge, you know?
Yeah, it seems like a great tool to use for reaching hierogamic union of actually being able to connect with your genetic equal. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
really great to be able to literally have a map. I
Yeah.
imagine I would assume that divine counterparts
Hmm.
in hierogamic union would probably have tons of oppositions in their chart.
Yes. And I have recently also, the close friend I have, because I am in that kind of relationship with my husband and she is with hers as well. She wasn't totally aware of that, but I was telling her just that in that exact fact of meaning. And it's not normally the way you would think. Like, I think you would think this, but let's say the average person or whatever may think, oh, it means you're a twin flame or divine counterpart if you have like the same planets here and in the same signs. And it's like, no, 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 no. It means this if you have very opposing planets in very opposing signs, especially if it is directly opposing and things like that. And now, not all of them, but if you've got even quite a few, or like the ones I continue to find that are the biggest marker is really just that sun and moon. So many
Mhm.
times, people who are truly on this path have the sun, the woman's
Yeah.
sun, no, the man's, how now I'm flipping this. The wherever the man's moon is, that's where the woman has her sun normally, or
Mm.
like pretty close to that vicinity. Sometimes Earth can be a factor in that as well, especially in the human design charting way. But yeah, it's so interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting. For me, like twin flame energy, I do tend to see a lot of similarities
Hmm.
um, in terms of either overlay or, someone may have like a Virgo stellium and they have a sixth house stellium sort of thing. Like there's definitely some noticeable identical patterns,
Hmm.
whereas, divine counterparts are very much more equal opposite
Yes, yes,
energy. They don't
yes.
have, they have what each other needs to balance each other out. They're not
Not the same.
imprints like what I find in twins. Yeah.
Yeah, which, oh, that's so interesting because see, that's so interesting. We'll have to speak to that another
Mhm.
day. Um, because I consider basically twin flame divine counterpart as the same. It's just different parts of the journey, like twin flame is like the activation, but then divine counterpart. So it's the same relationship and person and journey. It's just twin flame is basically hell when you're awakening to that. And what you were speaking to just in the way of having more harmony, let's say, or similarities in the chart is just to me soulmates, like most of what people are experiencing here in most of their relationships that are, I believe most of them are having just truly soulmate relationships, which is just more natural harmony,
Mhm.
just not so many opposing energies and all kinds of shit flying around everywhere.
Yeah, I would love to talk
But
more on that
yeah, yeah,
for, well, some other time probably.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, twin flames for me, I find as two individuals who share a same soul mission. And
Hmm.
so their fire ignites with each other, and I find that they are almost duplicate copies of each other. It helps amplify the mission. And it makes it easier because you're now working as two. And twins, right? Twins are the same, whereas divine counterpart is like it's a counter, so it's equal opposite. Whereas twin, and I feel like a lot of
Hmm.
the twin flame journey has been completely distorted. A lot of people are stuck in
Yeah,
pain programs of like, oh,
yeah,
your narcissistic abuser is your twin flame. Bitch,
yeah,
no. What the
yeah,
fuck? No.
yeah, yeah. I stopped using the word for a while
I,
because of
I stopped
that.
using twin flame too.
Yeah,
I'm in
I
union with
have.
mine, but I
No, and
just
I have.
stopped using it
No, but
because
I've begun again too, which I think
Mhm.
it was a sign. Like there was a distinct time where like so much of that was collapsing, and I believe that it has enough, obviously, that we can kind of
Yeah,
speak to it again in that way. But
yeah.
oh yeah, that's so interesting. I do. I want to go deeper on that with you because you know how these things work when even something is seemingly opposing in the view of it. What I feel like we are just speaking to still like different. It's hard to find the words when you're getting into this truly like in that quantum way, but it's like I just feel like what we're speaking to is just a different actualization of kind of the same reality because it's like the intention that is kind of what I sense in twin flame, but what I'm speaking to is like but then that activation is supposed to lead you into basically turning you the fuck inside out, which is like, oh no, like who you
Yeah.
thought you were, you are not, and who he thought he was, he is not, and y'all are about to separate. Like we're doing the infinity, symbol line dance, but that's just the beginning of it, and then you're like, whoa, you go way the fuck out. But then once the divine counterpart integration and embodiment is occurring, then you're a vertical and horizontal line infinity symbol, and you're becoming in sacred union with yourself and the other. But yeah, we'll have to go deep into
Very
that one
interesting.
day.
Yeah, I would love
Yeah.
to chat about that. And
Yeah.
maybe that's a great segue to move into Venus stuff. Are you done with Mercury, or do you want
Yes,
to speak more?
let me say one more thing because it
Yeah.
was so relative to what you said about I loved, hold on. Oh, you were speaking to how when the sun is really aligning with Mercury that like, oh, like that you love that time. And I was like, wow, this is just freaking perfect because let me double check this on the actual chart real quick. Yeah, when the sun and Mercury are actually aligning, but Mercury is still in retrograde, then we'll be in this 39 that you see here, which look at what that city is, liberation. So I just felt like that went just so well with what you said. So yeah, that's it. You can continue on.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about Venus. So, Venus is within the constellation Taurus for all to see. So, it just finished activating royal star Aldebaran here, which was major luxury codes for the collective. A lot of, natural organic coding of earth and body energy that came here. But Venus is done with that. So Venus is going to, is it on one day? Yeah, okay. Is going to continue to move forward. Venus is at home in Taurus. So this is a wonderful time to connect to your body, to connect to the planet itself. It's a great time to focus on the quality of things in your life. So, quality relationships for one of what we're just talking about, of like, it really doesn't matter how you want to label a relationship. If it's the quality that you want, you can call it anything, right? A rose always still smells so sweet no matter what it's called. So, really assessing your relationships and the quality of relationships that you have. It's like, do you really want 100 friends if they, again, it kind of goes back to that group mentality sort of thing. Is like, if they're not actually your vibe, do you really want them as a friend? If if you notice that someone in the hive is off, why would you keep them around, sort of thing. So really going through quality relationships, quality materials in your life, especially anything that you put in and on your body, like food, water, health, beauty products, clothing, especially. Um, because as you know, most clothing is made of plastic these days, and it just causes endocrine disruption. It fucks up your Taurus field. But yeah, your Taurus field as well. So it's just like, stop wearing plastic, people, please. And it's also a great time to assess your values. So, especially when it comes to material reality. So, how you relate to physical reality as well as your relationships. So, Venus will continue to move through the horns of Taurus. This is also known as the tuning fork of Taurus. So, this is when sound field is super, super important, especially in Venusian terms. So, personal relationships, love, relationship with the planet, relationship with material resources, including money. So, how you speak about things is going to materialize into your reality. So, make sure that you are speaking what you want and what you do not want. Um, we also have the that Venus is going to be activating Zeta Taurus around, 726, 727, 725, 726. This is when it's going to be at the peak of it. And so on these days, it is especially important to watch your speech as well as what you listen to, right? It goes both ways, like how you're speaking. Um, and then what you're listening to in terms of music and things like that. This star specifically is associated with how sound creates matter. So it's very important to pay attention to the sound codes that you are allowing into your body, as well as not just what you're speaking, but your own internal dialogue and what you're saying in your mind, because your cellular system is constantly listening to whatever that narrator is saying. And then when your cells are intaking that information, the genetic output is going to be what you're saying. And then what your genetic output is ultimately, projecting out onto the holographic interface with the universe and then reflecting back the energy that you're putting out. So just be very careful. I mean, always be careful with your speak and, thoughts and things like that and what you listen to. But around this time, it is essential. So, like, for example, if you're trying to manifest the love of your life, stop listening to bullshit breakup songs. Stop listening to songs about people cheating on each other and stuff like that. Like, if you want to manifest harmony in the world, stop watching war. Like, it's really fucking simple when you get down to it. So just be selective with what you're putting in and on your body, um, especially with sound around this time. But in general, this star is associated actually with peace. It's very relaxed. It's very chill, I would say. But it knows how to use force when necessary. So part of this is learning how to protect your peace and utilizing force in order to do so. So if you think about, cows, bulls, energy, like they're typically chill. They want to, relax, just chewing that cud and stuff. But when the bull sees red, you're going to get the horns. So part of this time when Venus is here, there can be a lot of triggers in relationships. So it's a great time to notice like when you're so triggered that you feel like you need to charge. Notice when there are such stark red flags that you may feel the need to protect yourself or protect your peace in some sort of way. And remember, peace is not some isolated woo woo la la land. Like there are very real physical, energetic, emotional, spiritual actions that have to take place in order for true peace to occur. And so that star is very much connected to the energetics there of that energetic. So we have Venus moving along. It's going to be moving into the Taurus Gemini void, and it's going to be activating the Orion star system around this time as well. Like I would say, yeah, 729 through the first is when we're going to see the height of the Orion stuff. It's going to activate Chi Orion during this time. And both of these stars are, Chi Orion 1, Chi Orion 2. Both of these stars are associated. I mean, in general, the Orion star system is known for warfare and bloodshed. It has a very dark and dominating type of galactic history to it. It's, no sunshine and rainbows. But the Orion star system is being reclaimed, so there is that silver lining there. And a lot of people who have Orion activations and alignments in their chart, they are part of that, of reclaiming the organic functioning of the star system to help shut down these war timelines and war machines and things like that. But during this time, be careful of confrontation. Okay, you want to, protect your peace, and sometimes that is staying away from people who are overly aggressive, angry. Try to avoid unnecessary conflict, especially because some people can be so triggered that they will just go nuts. Especially in, Venus, it can be a love relationship, so just try to take it easy during this time. Um, and it also, because it's Venus, it's bringing in energy of like true love is worth fighting for. So, remember that this can manifest a couple different ways. Like, and that's also a really good litmus test to see if you have a quality relationship, is that when there is some sort of confrontation, is it, you're both fighting for love, or you're both fighting together against something that's disrupting, the connection or whatever it is. Maybe it's a situation at large. Or when there's confrontation, do you notice it's always against the other person? So that's a really good sort of litmus test during that time. To, yeah, just notice about your relationships and sort of see what kind of quality they are. Then we have Venus that is going to be moving into the Gemini star system. So it's going to be activating Propus here. Um, like August, yeah, 2nd through 3rd, I would say, is when we're going to notice it the most. And Propus is a star that is known for very fast action, a lot of fast movement forward. So even though there is this kind of sitting, waiting energy around the beginning of August, things are just going to start moving very quickly in terms of Venusian code, so love and relationship and things like that. Um, Propus is a very Mars type star. So the fact that Venus is going to be activating a Martian star is, there's a lot of creation code. So if you're trying to create something, um, in, made with love or actually making love, it's a very good time to get pregnant if you're, at the ovulating, obviously. But if you're just creating something out of love, whether it's a business or a painting or whatever, coming from the heart space, utilizing both masculine and feminine polarity, this is a really great time to do so. Because things that want to be created are going to come to you during this time. And it's about taking very aligned action sort of quickly in order to make sure that it can materialize the way that it wants to. But this star is also known for taking very sharp turns. So it's kind of like a 90-degree angle sometimes. It can also be a U-turn. So Propus is associated with like new information coming in, which is a very Gemini type energy in general. So new information can come in that can cause a complete change of events, a complete course of action. With Venus, this can be in relationships, again, any sort of heart-centered endeavor. Venus is also business to an extent. You know, Saturn kind of takes over the corporate sort of thing, but when it's heart-led business, hobbies and things like that, it comes through Venus. Like I always say, if you want to have a job where you never work a day in your life, you try to get your career through Venus. If you want to like accumulate the most wealth possible, that's when you go to Saturn. Um, but so there's going to be a lot of shifts, or there can be a lot of shifts, because usually new information comes in through Propus um, that can put us on a different timeline that makes us devoted to a certain thing. It can even be Uranus level genius type stuff that comes through here as well. So you may have some sort of divine download and be like I have to dedicate 10, 25 years to this project in order to bring it into fruition. That's the type of dedication that Propus can bring. And again, that can be a complete 90-degree or 180 in your life. Um, so be open to new discoveries at this time. It can be like a new gift that comes online. It can be a new passion. It can really manifest as a lot of different things, but really be prepared to move in a different direction around this time. And again, because it's Venus, a lot of uh, the Venusian codes, relationship stuff comes through there as well. Excuse me. All right, and then we have Venus that is activating T-Jot posterior of Gemini on August 4th. Yeah, like August 4th, August 3rd to 4th to 5th, I would say is what the height of the activation. And this star is associated with mental calculations. So it is known for very keen observation, noticing coincidences. So pay attention to all the little dots that have been happening, because when Venus is there, there's going to be a lot of dots that connected. And because it's Venus, again, relationships, love, material reality, and things of that nature. Um, and the reason why this star is so great at calculating is because it takes past data and extrapolates it into the future. So there's a lot to be said about our central nervous system and peripheral nervous system in connection with this star, because the brain, the nervous calm system in general, is a machine to keep us alive. That's basically how it's programmed to do. So how it does that is it has data that it experiences. It takes that data, extrapolate it to keep us from harm. So while this star is very calculating and very good at um, I almost want to say seeing into the future in a way, the shadow aspect is this sort of self-fulfilling prophecy, this doom and gloom, experiencing a lot of trauma and then assuming that type of experience is going to be what's coming in. So when Venus is activating the star, there's a lot about personal relationships, love, etc., all that Venusian stuff where you kind of have to do the inner work of, okay, am I just assuming things are going to be this way because it is in the past, or am I going to do the work to allow my body to feel safe, to bring in new type of information to potentially nullify or override programs and stories that have been stored in the nervous calm system. So that's going to be a really interesting time. Then we have Venus continuing to move, and then we have Venus Jupiter conjunction. Love it. Okay, this is going to be, I would say the height of it is the 10th through the 13th, really peaking on the 11th and 12th. This is a very super, super lucky time in love, in personal relationships, in general material abundance as well. In general, Gemini, Venus and Gemini brings a love of information, almost like a sapiosexual type energy, I would say, very attracted to the way the mental space works, how people think, ideas, and things like that. And with Jupiter there, Jupiter is also, very philosophical, very world travel kind of energy. So there's a lot of really great, I'll say like epiphanies and expansive ideas coming in at this time. And again, very lucky time in love. So if you meet someone around this time, because it's in Gemini, I would say it's a great time for twin flames to connect, especially, because Jupiter is being activated. People could be doing grid work in order to unite in that way. But also, Gemini, Venus and Gemini, very flirty, kind of witty banter energy. It's a really fun time. I used to not like Venus and Gemini because it was so um, ungrounded, I would say, but I really have come to love it because it's so fun and sort of like, I don't know how to explain it, of just like, okay, on to the next thing, on to the next thing that I just really appreciate now. Um, but in general, with this conjunction of Venus and Jupiter, there's going to be a lot of mental upgrades, nervous calm system upgrades in order to hold more abundance. It's like your nervous system, the work you've done in your nervous calm system to hold more, to expand more, is now going to be integrated through the Jupiterian codes. And also, being able to also access more material resources through Venus as well. So it's like whatever nervous calm system work you've done, it's really going to physically show up during this time. All right. Amber, do you have any charts
Oh my gosh,
for
yes. I have
reading?
so much to say.
Yay!
Because
Okay.
like meaning like again, the thing I was saying to you in the beginning that I was hoping would happen,
Uh-huh.
wow, like
Yeah.
Venus is really making that shit happen. Like
Yeah.
big time.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, go to first because I'm going to jump around a little bit
Hmm.
because I don't have any like specific charting for Venus, but what I want to
Hmm.
show is the actual like mandala chart. So go to the week, I think of the 27th. I think it was like said maybe there's a week 727, yeah, or
This one?
somewhere around there where it shows the actual chart. Yes, okay. But first, also just you personally, I was thinking, well, of course you love this air energy, you true Libra, you like, right? Like,
Yeah, and
now you're
Gemini
like,
rising.
oh
So,
my, yes, like I love the air. It's all good. Let's go be in
uh-huh.
the air, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
I love it.
Dry
And
off. It's so nice.
yeah, and that so fits like the manifesting generator also,
Uh-huh.
because it's like, oh, I'm here, I'm there, you're here, I'm here,
Uh-huh.
you're there, we're here. Let's do it all. We're gonna just take on the world. Okay, so let me try to make it somewhat quick because we could go on for a freaking hour with how much I have to say and what you just said of just the chart on the left. Loved that what you were, I had to make notes on what you were saying because of how much it was ringing true to other charts we can't look at yet in this moment. But Black Moon Lilith and Venus are making this channel here in this picture that is the 2057 channel. So remember, or for anyone who didn't watch the first episode that I was on here with Sachi, is the in all normal human design, tropical, true sky, all of it. The our Black Moon Lilith in Chiron is not actually, it's so odd because they show it in this mandala view and even some other charts will show it, but it's not actually accounted for in our body graph. So I always do show that, and I have to color in myself when it creates a channel in my True Sky, transits that are these charts that I show every day on my story, in my story. Um, so I love that that is what is making this channel with Venus. But what I loved is what this channel actually represents. So you see, it's coming from the spleen to the throat. But what both of these codes represent is exactly what you were saying about when you were first speaking about Venus and how it's this sound kind of codes, like you were speaking
To
to the
Taurus. Uh-huh.
importance, yeah, and the power of the sound. Well, the 57, which is actually Black Moon Lilith, is there, but that is the code of sound in all of the gene keys. I mean, it is the clairaudient code, like massively. And then the 20 is known as seeing. So just so much of what you were sharing was so very much I was just seeing that just in this channel alone being activated in these days. So it's just from 727 to 731. Um, of just this real clarity of hearing, but then also seeing. And then, even though that seeing code is in our throat, it's like then that's what gives us that ability of both this back and forth of what you were speaking to as well. Being, the throat is not just for speaking, it is also for us being able to hear with extreme levels of clarity. Um, and
Which
then go
I
ahead.
feel like that's very interesting because so it seems like what's going to be influencing the sound codes the most is Black Moon Lilith for the collective, meaning the dark feminine is going to be, I'll say, infiltrating the sound code. So you want to be very selective about what is being spoken, especially in terms of destruction.
Yes, but the way that I feel this, so yes, that could be very true overall collectively. But the way that I feel Black Moon Lilith in a true sky chart, meaning like for someone like you or someone who's a divine feminine further along in your journey to where even I would consider Black Moon Lilith as a part of your chart, I consider that placement to be the refinement of that meaning and the exaltation, meaning truly the dark goddess code. So, like the
Hmm.
true organic, so like for us and for women that are in this leg of the journey like we are, or just have been on the divine feminine journey for quite some time, I feel kind of the opposite thing, meaning like, oh no, ladies, like you trust it, like you listen to that voice, meaning yeah, it might very much be going against this dark feminine that you're seeing reflected in the collective, or it might be speaking to you against it or things in that way. But you know what I'm speaking to, like a
Hmm.
difference within the vessel of like, no, you trust this voice, and yes, it is not going to go along with all of what the world is telling you, and it is dark and it is weird, but it's true. So
Hmm.
you best believe. um and then, okay, wait, because I have a few different notes here of, let me look and see what that chart is showing. Hang on.
Hmm.
About, so is it on that next chart? Let me look at my picture real quick. Because I
Okay, if you want me to pull something else up, I can.
No, hang on, because I
Okay.
think, no, it's not on that one. Hang on. I might need you to. Let me just double check because I found it so interesting also that then you were speaking to this Mars kind of energy that you were feeling of a star, I think you were speaking.
Propus, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yes, so
Propus
then
of Gemini.
Yeah, so then go to the week of 8-8 charts and I'll show you something there that just so perfectly goes with two. Again, in a totally different way, but like
Hmm.
wow, it just resonates and synchronizes so well. So on the full moon chart, oh gosh, that's so weird.
Is
Huh.
that not the right one?
Well, no, it is, but maybe I sent you the wrong thing. So the one on the left, there
Hmm.
should be like things circled there and I don't see it. So maybe it just didn't come through correctly to you because that's so odd.
Huh.
Everything, oh, that's because I sent you this updated one. Okay.
Yes, you sent me an updated
All,
one. So I did, yeah,
this
I
is
put it in there. Okay.
Okay, no, this is all my mistake, y'all. Let me correct. So yes, okay. I'm just gonna have to kind of point. Hopefully your eyes are good enough, your viewers, to see this. I forgot. I corrected a typo for Sachi. I sent her a chart, but then I forgot to freaking circle the things on the chart. So this is all my fault. But
All
the
good.
for the left chart of the full moon, um what Mars is, it's not necessarily involving Venus. I just found this so interesting though because it's around
Sorry, did you say the left or the right?
the left chart.
Okay.
So you'll
Uh-huh.
see that Mars is activating the 40. It's the one that's like in green kind of on the
Okay.
right, Mars with the 40. Yeah. It is bringing in this energy to complete a channel of which the other side is Saturn and Neptune retrograde. That's just, it was reminding me very much of the energy you were speaking to, and also what I had spoken to a while back of just kind of like this. That's a very tribal kind of energy, and it's very much like very divine feminine, very divine masculine, being the 40 is more the masculine coding, the 37 is more the feminine. So I was just seeing this kind of resonance there in that too, even though Venus isn't actually in it, just meaning it resonates with what you were speaking to in that way. And then, oh, and then on that, the chart on the right, something else I think you were speaking to about Propus also is we're having this other channel that you'll see. You should see that where I'm pointing to it on the chart on the
Oh,
right.
right here.
Yes, of also the 1949 channel being activated, which is the 49 itself is known as the code of revolution and rebirth. And lots of things you were speaking to in regards to Venus was just so very much resonating also with this channel and with what's happening here and there. And I think you were speaking, I don't remember which date we were on, but it seemed to be close around this time also of like the full moon and a
Yes.
little
Yeah.
bit after when you
It's
were.
like little, it was the 10th to the 13th with
It,
that Jupiter conjunction. Yeah.
yes,
So
exactly.
it's
So I
like, yeah,
was,
right after.
yeah, I was finding that fascinating because it's like, okay, we're not technically speaking about Venus per se. We were in that first chart, but like a lot of the things you were speaking to Venus and the stars that she was aligning with, bringing through, I was just seeing so much also mirroring in other energetics being brought through by different planets and different channel activations at that time. That's like the exact same kind of energy that you were describing.
It's so
Um,
interesting. It's as above, so below, but happening differently. It's very cool. It's
yeah, but
very
like
cool.
flipped
Yeah.
all around,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Uh-huh.
inside out, sideways, over here, which is what I was trying to speak to too about. This is what's happening so much with so many things in the world too. It's like sometimes we're all actually saying the same thing. We're just
Yeah.
saying it from a different experience, from a
Uh-huh.
different, more so a different point in time of that experience, right?
Mm.
So what's coming together is all of it trying to come together. Okay, and then last thing just about Venus, go to the what week is it on? Hang on. The Black Moon Lilith chart, I think it would be on
Oh, the
that
Black Moon,
seven.
this
Yeah,
one?
the one. Well, the one, yes, that.
Okay.
I just wanted to show some
Hmm.
details of what that first chart you had shown. Now, this is where, Black Moon Lilith will be directly making that channel with Venus. So that you can see what I was speaking to in the way of how, she was saying it's so much about sound and how deeply this code is about that, and that it's also in the I Ching, it's wind over wind. But it's speaking also actually into what I'm kind of saying about time. It's saying the wind is powerful because time is its power.
Mm.
Um, be the unseen influence. So again, this real deepening for all divine feminines to sink into how our influence, like it says, her indirect influence reaches further than direct action ever could. And just
I love
delving
that.
below, right. Like this one is, I was feeling until Black Moon Lilith will be here in this code through this entire transit time, basically, I think until 8:15. Um, and eventually, like I was feeling at that time of where we looked at the chart creating this and then into the full moon and kind of coming out of, then a lot of what else I have written here in the forecast of meaning like finally like rewards coming to divine feminines that have
Mm.
been doing this work, like past troubles behind us, like finally having just clarity, validation, like redemption for the deep, attuning of our intuition that we've been doing for so many years, and for listening to only our intuition when either we didn't even want to believe it, no one else was believing it. just feeling this energy and everything you were saying, especially at that time when Venus is connecting with this energy, like that's going to be a really huge time. And it was just going along perfectly with everything you shared about Venus. So that's it.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Um, which might be a great time to move to Mars, unless there's something else that you want to say about Venus.
No, that's good.
Okie doke. So we have Mars currently in Leo. So Mars and Leo, Mars is going to be exiting Leo here and moving into the Leo Virgo void, although it will be activating Sigma Leo here on its way out, like 18th, peaking 19th and 20th through the 21st approximately. Sigma Leonis is known for extreme heat. So it's a it just brings heat and the fire element. So with Mars, which is also very fiery, we have so much fire energy to utilize during this time. So use it wisely. This firepower can be used in a lot of different ways. It can be used for magic, it can be used for passion, it can be used for lust. But definitely do not burn out. That is something that I would be careful of around this time. Don't get burnt out, as well as don't get actually burnt if you're out in the sun, because it can be a time of extreme heat. I know a lot of at least the US just went through a heat wave. There could be another one. Just, yeah, be careful, keep your garden watered, etc. It's also a star that is associated with desires and wishes coming true, but through the result of actions being taken and having a positive attitude. So, with the planet of action here, it's a great time to make sure that you are taking the physical steps necessary in order to, make your desires a reality, have wishes come true. And it's not about speed. It's kind of like if you haven't seen the reel on Instagram about the Sagittarius full moon. There's a lot about this specific star. um, well, about the Sagittarius energy, but more so how Mars was influencing Leo in the aspects of the full moon that we just had. But it was a lot of the full moon of what we just went through is like slow down. It's not about going at a certain speed. It's not about going fast. It's about taking very precise, aligned action so that you make sure that you're going in the direction that you want to go and that you're on target with that Sag arrow. And with Mars activating this star, it's kind of like a second wind of that energy of making sure you're taking aligned actions to actually have what you want to have happen. So we have Mars that is exiting or going through the Leo Virgo star systems and then is going to be moving into Virgo. Um, and it's going to be activating Zava Java, Mr. Java Java. That's like I was hearing. So Mr. Lava Lava song. Okay, so I'm already feeling the type of men that are coming in during that time. So be careful, y'all, if that's not what you want. Okay. But yeah, I would say around the first, peaking on the second, and going into the third, Mars is going to be activating Zava Java. This is a star that is associated with administrative tasks that are associated with keeping law. So this can be, how we consider law in our world today, but this is also on a higher vibrational energy, the universal law and the quote unquote, I guess we'll call it Akashic paperwork that is necessary in order to keep track of what actual universal law is and such. Um, and this star has a really high level of love for orderliness, cleanliness, all that kind of Virgo stuff comes through this star. Um, so, like, if you have this in your chart, obviously, you would be a great administrator, administrative person, paperwork, organization, all that sort of stuff. Um, but it is also associated with uh, things that are like like sirens and things that indicate very real danger. So with Mars here, there can be some things that might actually be dangerous. It kind of brings back the conversation at the beginning of like releasing fear. Just because you release fear, it doesn't mean that you're never supposed to feel fear. Like you need to release the fear that's stuck in your body when you didn't have time to process when you were in real danger, and a lot of people pleasers and things like that, especially women, who have been through like sexual abuse and things like that. It's a really great time to release that fear from the yoni and from the root. But fear can be anything. It could be food scarcity, it could be homelessness, who knows? Fear is a long list, right? But it's in order to install safety. But once you have that baseline of safety, it's not that you're never going to feel fear, because when real danger comes, you need to be able to feel fear so that okay, I need to get the fuck away from this person, this place, this thing. So around this time, notice, what sort of signs and signals you're getting about something that could be very real danger. So, Mars is a very aggressive planet, is the planet of, currently war and things like that. So just kind of pay attention to that. But in general, it is a very protective star. So even though, like, the point of these sirens and these signals for very real danger is to protect people, right? It's like the reason why they put the tornado alarm on is so that okay, hey, protect yourself because there's danger nearby. So it's a very good, good-hearted. It's kind of like no one wants that job, right? I mean, some people love that job. It's kind of like paperwork. It's like, oh, everyone hates paperwork. Not really. Actually, some people fucking love it. It's like no one likes to be the bearer of bad news to tell you you're in danger, but actually, some people fucking love it. And like both jobs are very much needed and necessary. So, even if like warnings come in little weird ways, maybe you see a reading on YouTube or Instagram or whatever it may be. Maybe you just hear someone talking and say like, "Oh, don't go out tonight." Maybe they're not talking to you, but you hear it. Just pay attention to those things because Mars and this star together are really trying to protect at this time. Um, and the energy of this star, the reason why it likes to protect people is to preserve innocence and purity. And I don't necessarily mean that in like a puritanical, like purity culture, but it's like, for example, if you know that a hailstorm's coming, the alarm is sounded so that you can put a protective cover over your car to protect the purity of your car. It's not like, oh, nothing can ever touch my car or anything. Obviously, it's meant to be driven. It's meant to, bugs are going to get on it and things like that. But there is an essence of wanting to protect what is sacred, also what can't be protected itself. So this is a very protective star over children, over animals, as well as women in general. So with Mars here, we can definitely, feel a lot of protective energy. And again, just pay attention to the signs and signals that may be happening around this time, because usually it's a preventative measure star. So these signs and signals are going to be coming to you so that you can stay protected. It's not a signal, like hopefully you get the signs and signals before the real danger is actually in your physical proximity. And then we have Mars moving along Virgo, and it's going to be stimulating Xenia. Um, I would say 13th, peaking 14th into 15th, even into 16th. And this star is associated, so the Zavajava is associated with the right hand of law, of maintaining law. Xenia is associated with the left hand of maintaining law. So it's a very interesting energy that comes from this star, um, because it's all the things that are not documented in order to maintain law. Okay, so it's like covert operations, it's informants, it's things that are done on the DL. And it has a high love for order and orderliness that we typically find in Virgo energy, but it has a backdoor way of doing things. So it's definitely a more sneaky star. It can be one. The shadow aspect is very untrustworthy. Um, and it's like, it's the energy of breaking the law to maintain the law. So there's definitely some hypocrite energy that comes through here. It's like do as I say, not as I do type of thing. So a lot of like three-letter agency stuff comes through here. And I'm not saying they maintain the law whatsoever. I'm saying the energetics of that comes through here. I'm not saying you should break the law to maintain the law whatsoever. I'm just sharing the information of the star. Um, and this star also holds a lot of sexual distortions here as well. So it can be like sexual distortions of how the feminine takes on the burden when the masculine is not properly contained or isn't properly, I guess we can say, trained to an extent. So, an example of is like, oh, like men can't control themselves or urges, so women need to completely cover up. That would be something like a distortion that comes through this star instead of holding men accountable and saying, okay, well, then you need to fucking fix yourself so that you're not a fucking predator type thing. So, there's some interesting things in how those sexual distortions come through in certain law, actual like law settings in terms of legal systems that exist on Earth as well. And that's mid-August, so yeah, I'll end it there.
That was super interesting again too. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've yet to interact with many that truly do teach me lots of things I didn't know. I don't mean that. That sounds very
Oh,
arrogant, but
no, it
like,
doesn't. I mean, I'm the same way, so
yeah, no. So this is just like, wow. Like I'm getting lost in that. Like I feel like I'm one of your viewers as you're going
oh,
into all of these things. Yes, I love it.
awesome.
That's,
Yeah, yay,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
I felt the same way when you were teaching me about human design too. I was
Good.
like, awesome. This is like a course almost. Like I just
Yeah.
feel like I'm learning and it really uh yeah, stimulated me to be even more interested in human design. So I'm very thankful that you're here and we're discussing this.
Yeah.
Um, so do you have anything you want me to pull up for Mars
No,
that
you
you want me to start
actually
with?
don't have to, only because I don't really have anything super relevant chart-wise to show, except for what I did just show. If you want to go back to that chart that shows the channel, you can, but I'm not going to speak much to it. I just wanted to
Okay.
say overall, because we'll get into something once we get into Chiron, but you'll see once we
Yes.
speak about that, that again, because a lot of what you're describing is just so weirdly continuing to like deeply resonate with other completely different information that I'm tapping into in this time, but that isn't, like I would have never known, oh, that it's also connected to that star's energy. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
it's this kind of really cool, blowing my mind in that way that mainly just everything you were sharing about Mars in general was again just deeply resonating with it being in that 40. Like I was speaking to how it's going to create that 4037 channel that I kind of keep speaking to. You'll see why too, because again, once we get into some of the retrogrades, Saturn and Neptune being in that 37, it's like that 40 is so very much all of what you just described, many of these different energies with the stars, especially that last one. How did you, not the very last one, the second to the last, the Zava, how did you say
The
it?
Zava Java.
Java or Java?
Java VA, yeah.
Zava Java. Yeah. Like, oh, I'm loving that star actually. So like
Uh-huh.
the because that's very much what that 40 energy is so much is that star right there. And so what I was sensing too, because it's around the same time frame of what you were sharing, um I was just sensing even more massive masculine activations coming through. And I thought it was so interesting too, even your little journey in describing it, because you were at first kind of like, ooh, like about the song and like, ooh, this is going to tell us something about that energy, kind of like the not so great masculine energy maybe that comes
Uh-huh.
up, rolls up onto us in the club when we were in our 20s. But then,
Right.
but then, when you got deeper into it, it was just showing me this really cool picture because that kind of is masculine energy, which is why it's
Yeah.
so misunderstood, right? It's like,
Mhm.
oh, and it kind of is again going back to all of what we were rabbit holing about with the romance energies and opposing factors. Is it's like, oh, you scare me, but like, oh, you could also protect me, and I like that. Like I
Mhm.
was feeling
Yeah.
very much that energy, which is very much that 40 energy, the 40 and 37 though being, that's where Mars is going to be at the time I was speaking to it, of like, it's a lot higher than just like the human divine masculine energy, but both of the energies together are tribal, this very tribal kind of energy, right? With the 40 being so much of everything you spoke to, being that masculine, the provider, the protector, um, while the 37 is, like the backbone of the family, the woman, the tribal energy in that way. But yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say. And then maybe if I remember, we can there was just something about some of the codes of where, because I think Chiron is going to begin its retrograde close to where you were at when I was
Mm.
like seeing that resonance, or a little bit after. I think you were maybe like on August 4th. And then I don't know, something in there was reminding me of um, it was just a little bit after Chiron's retrograde will begin, which I think what I was feeling it in the way of was assisting us with exactly what you were speaking to in that way, right? With like, healing that core wound in really big ways. And you'll see why once we speak to that, the code that it's in. That yeah, it's just wow, it's like keeps blowing my mind. Like how really cool and resonant all of this is
Uh-huh.
working in like a very spiral circly manner.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely love it. And it's perfect because Chiron is next on the list.
Perfect.
So we have Chiron that is still in Pisces, folks. Been there for a long time now,
Yeah.
years, 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 and will continue to be there for quite some time. So Chiron doesn't move very fast. So here it is. It stations retrograde on the 31st. So again, it will be appearing to move in its retrograde moment. It is going to be activating Kalat Nunu and um what is this called? Oh yeah, Omicron Pisceum. Okay. And if you want to learn about both of those stars, you can watch the Pisces episode, which was the last episode of season one, with a different guest named Amber, actually.
Oh.
So yeah, Island Amber. So if you want to look into more information on those stars, I encourage you to do that rather than me talk about them again. So carbon retrograde in general, this is a great time for healing. It's kind of like you don't necessarily have, I mean, you always have a choice. Free will is absolutely always there. Um, However, Chiron retrograde really puts front and center a lot of these wounding. So it's a great time to revisit old wounds that need attention. It can also stimulate some healing gifts, maybe that you've been sitting on, or it can activate them. Because it's in Pisces, these are mainly healing things for spiritual alignment. So ethereal things, multidimensional self type things. But in general, in terms of the collective consciousness, this is everyone is healing as a collective level, um, for the betterment of all. I'll just end it there, of all. And, all we can do ourselves is be that microcosmic data point or microcosmic fractal in it and do our own healing work. And that will, excuse me, influence the macroscopic aspect of healing. If you want to, influence the bigger aspect of reality, you have to do it within. So, when you heal yourself, you impact others, you pave the way for others to also do their healing work. So, there's some trap doors, I'll say, that people fall in of like, oh, I want to heal everyone, I want to heal the world, but it's like you're looking outward and trying to save people. A lot of rescuer syndrome, savior syndromes come through there, which is definitely Pisces energy. That's where that martyr savior complex, Jesus stuff comes through. And not the particular person, just those programs. And, of like needing to be saved by an external factor and things like that, or saving other people. It's like you can only save yourself and that's it. You can show other people, you can embody that so that other people know it's possible for themselves.
Mhm.
And so Chiron retrograde is really going to be, stimulating that because remember, you can only heal yourself. End of list.
Yep.
Like you can show the way for others. You can obviously, energy work is totally real. Visiting healers are totally real. They can set the energetic blueprint and use their tools and gifts in order to help you. But in terms of actualizing and embodying that energy, it is an inside job. Um, and so, a lot of healers, energy workers, and the like are going to be awakened during this time during Chiron retrograde. So it's really exciting, especially for people whose gifts are finally coming online or they feel, their confidence in order to utilize them. But in general, people are going to be stimulated to do what their soul is calling them to do, and that is spiritual in nature, right? So, healers, energy workers, and stuff like those are just people who work in those specific fields. But truly, if your calling is to be a banker or to, open a food co-op or be a farmer, like that is spiritual in nature when you pursue it because you are fulfilling your soul's mission. And so, Chiron stimulates a lot of healing and sort of bridges those gaps in order for us to follow our soul calling in that way. And then whatever gifts that we have, because healing gifts aren't just being a shaman or a high priestess or a master astrologist and things like that. Like that's one form of healing. But let's say you want to be a makeup artist. If you put yourself into being a makeup artist and you show your success and, maybe you want to be famous on TikTok or something, or maybe you want to be a makeup artist for a certain celebrity or whatever. Like just you paving that way is healing. You're healing yourself because you're doing what your soul is calling you to do, and then you help heal others by showing other people it's possible. Like even an example that I love to use all the time is like if you want to be a mermaid, you can be a mermaid. There are mermaids in hotels. There are mermaids that are the official mermaids of different sports teams. There are just like people who make social media posts as a mermaid. Like, if that's what you feel called to do, you can be a mermaid and get paid for it. And your whole life can be being a mermaid. Like, there is nothing out of the question if that is what your true soul calling is. And so, Chiron retrograde is really causing these calibrations to get people into spiritual alignment, no matter what that looks like.
Mhm. Mhm. That was really good.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Chiron is just staying here. um, Chiron continues its retrograde through the rest of the year, so I'll just mention that. I'm not going to go past August 15th, but Chiron will be retrograding until January 2nd of calendar year 2026. So, um, you know, there's plenty of healing to go around. This isn't a quick fix or quick anything. So just be aware of that. It's going to be month long transit.
Mhm.
Okay. So which diagram would you like me to pull
Okay,
up?
pull up the one, I think what week? It's the one that says Chiron retrograde. I think it's from the week of 7/27, maybe. It should be in that
27. I believe
week.
it's this one, is it?
Yep, yep, the one on
Okay,
the
cool.
right. Yep.
Okay.
So, yes, and first
And
two. Oh, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say I need to step away to get some more water again. So
Okay, no, that's good.
excuse me,
That's good.
but
I'll wait till
okay.
you come back to say this. I wanted to say something about something you said, so I'll wait to say it till you come back and I'll just go
Okay.
through this. Yeah. No
Okay,
problem.
excellent. All right, I'll be back.
Okay. So okay, for Chiron retrograde, this is going to be in gene key 25. So what this is known as in the I Ching is called without entanglement, also without folly. And I love this code so very much. You see in the gene keys work here on the chart, the shadow is constriction, gift is acceptance, city is universal love. So what I love about it is people don't understand. They think universal love is like, I'm heart open and melting with and on everyone all the time. That is not what universal love is. What it very much is, and the only way that we can experience it, exhibit it, be a part of it in any way, transmit it, is by being without entanglement, just like this I Ching code is called. So truly the journey that we will be brought into to attune with and come into the frequency of universal love, it feels quite the very opposite of all things love, because many are extremely entangled with not only many different people that aren't healthy for them, but just all kinds of things. This isn't just entanglement with people, it's all kinds of things that could not be for our highest good. So then the information on it is it speaks to those without entanglement being like the natural world, effortlessly in harmony with the quality of time, connected to natural movement of heaven, but with the immediacy of thunder. I love this piece because what that's bringing through is also what people don't understand is truly being in your authentic essence, which is not, it's not that you don't have an ego anymore. It's just that it's not in control. And it's exactly this line that we are in our organic flow and nature's, but with the immediacy of thunder gets left out many times, because what that means is we are fucking authentic. And when whatever is trying to move through us and wants to, we allow it, and we are that too. So there's no filter. It's not in the I'm going to harm you and I don't care that I have no filter way. It's just being authentic and speaking truth and letting these divine currents flow through us always. But what I love about this time in particular is the importance in this code too, is it's saying, do not be foolish, do not lack common sense, choosing to strive against falsity. And yet the miscreants are truly culpable. Do not go in their direction. So there's like very strong and potent warnings that we're having through this time as well too. And then the like oracular reading for this particular time from line 1 of this hexagram of 25 is focusing in on that last part, saying common sense brings success. Do not undertake heroism. Do not try to force the impossible to happen. If your intentions are pure and your actions virtuous, you need not engage in pseudo extraordinary measures. Let it be to achieve prosperity. So I'm just sensing, again, so much of this stillness message that's been kind of coming through everything, and just becoming so at one with one's own self, intentions, intuition, and then truly many actually being brought into that journey of universal love that I was explaining, that is just like, yeah, talk about you better be ready to not be the hero, because when you're brought into the journey of attuning with universal love, you switch and you are the bad guy in many people's stories, because that's the level of without entanglement that it takes to actually get into that completely un you know unattached state, so that you can actually transmit and be a channel of universal love. But what I'm speaking to too is not at all this spiritual bypassing of detachment in the ways that spiritual and new age preaches either. It's not that. It's the highest attachment to truly the frequency of love and to oneself, to one's soul, one's highest self, that inevitably will come with massive cord cuttings, because the reality is so many people are not good for you that are in your reality. So
Yeah.
you're gonna have to cut a shit ton of cords if you want real healing, real change. And what Sachi was speaking to that I wanted to say too is like, this is also so much that energy I was speaking to earlier of this, the shift in the cosmology of human design ages, going from what's crazy is we're actually leaving this channel. I keep speaking to the 3740, which of course not coincidence too. It's part of my incarnation cross in my true sky now, but we're leaving that age. It's the cross of planning. And what this whole energy too was reminding me of when she was speaking to healing being the inside job, and we really got to stop focusing on trying to heal everyone else and all of this. That's what's going to be massively flipped, is we're leaving this tribal collective age and we're about to be entering in 2027 this extreme age of individuation. The cross of sleeping phoenix age is that that energy is literally becoming that phoenix reborn, meaning what it had been in human design is the lost soul that was giving away all of its power to all of the systems. But anyone who's going to really be in that energy of that cross, like let's say if you have it in your chart, the cross of sleeping phoenix, after 2027, that's a different energy, because the sleeping phoenix has arisen now, and what's going to begin to occur collectively is no more of that shit. So much extreme individuation is going to begin. So that's where I really am feeling like the age of the tribe is gonna go away, because it's gonna take some extreme inwardness for each and every individual on this planet to get to what she was describing of that true Chiron wounded healer energy and what it's trying to teach us, which is basically like you can only change and fix yourself. You can't do that, and don't do that in distorted ways. That's not what I'm preaching to. But if you're really caring for your soul and yourself on a true healing journey, it's going to come with a lot of loss. That's just the truth of it. Maybe it can come back. It doesn't mean all things that go will be gone forever. But those are the initiations that are asked, especially of Chiron. If
Yeah.
you are getting to this Chiron energy in your journey, you are getting to the root of all roots of your, not just this life, core wounds and scars and things that you are really trying to heal as a soul. So it's deep work. It's super deep work. So that's all I have to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, it definitely is. And there's something that you said that I wanted to touch upon. Um, oh, the individuation. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing because if we think about these and the individuation, from what I understand, it's not, that we're going to be isolated or not have friends or things like that,
Yeah.
but the focus is so much on the self that there is no need to search for the other in terms of what you're trying to accomplish.
Yes.
So it kind of gives me the energy of um like like I always say when like when war and all that stuff is like, wow, these people have nothing better to do. Like they don't have a hobby that they're out like killing people. Like what the fuck is happening in their life that makes them want to be devoted to a killing machine and risk their life to which they have no benefit?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Well,
it like
but
none of it makes sense.
no, but it is, but see, but to me, when you said that, the first thing I thought was the tribe, because that is
Yeah,
what it's so
right.
much behind that.
Tribes will go to war, as they say. Troops
Yeah.
always go to war.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
if that's what and that's what we've all been conditioned to believe is the utmost highest esteem is, oh, we're caring for the tribe and we should care about others. And this is something that I was very raw on the podcast episode. I'm not sure if I'm releasing or not, is that I saw a recent post that validated so many things I had deeply felt within that make me sound like an asshole to the world, which is that it was just this post that was saying like the soul, it was never meant to know what's happening across the globe. Like we
Yeah,
don't
I agree.
have the capacity to, and it, but it's not because we don't care, it's because we actually do care so deeply. And what am I to do about that except
Right.
for cry all night whenever I was still in my completely unhealthy, total dark empath, phases of my life,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That yeah, so it's like we were meant to live, yes, still like you're saying, in community, in tribe, but small, in real time
Yes.
reality kind of
Exactly.
energy, because anything more than that, no one who truly does have the capacity to love and to care and to be there for others can handle that, and it's out of our control. So it's not doing the world any good. So yeah, I just feel
Yeah.
very much like what you're saying too. It's just like
I totally agree. And I don't think it makes you sound like an asshole. I think it's very realistic. And, most scientists would also agree, like on the neuroscience end of like our nervous calm system was never meant to be barraged with as much information as we have access to, especially the horrors of the world 24/7, whether it's war or shooting in that neighborhood and devastation there and flood there. It's like that's what the news is just a trauma cycle to keep people stuck and to
weird.
feed to feed electrical systems devastation and trauma in order for them to manifest more of it for them.
Exactly.
So
100%.
the
Yes.
best thing you can do is detach from things that you cannot directly affect.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. And just focus on your in real time reality that also, guess what? Doesn't normally give you accolades, does it? It's like just focus on your actual family, on your actual people in
Yes.
your life that, yeah, no one's going to know about. Great. Yeah. That's the best, most pure way we can be actually giving real love and caring and doing anything that's worth
Yeah.
anything
And
in the world.
changing the
Right?
world.
Yeah, that
You
is how
change
we're
the
changing
world by changing
it. Well,
yourself and your
that's
your current environment, and
yes,
that's what you do. And then it
yes,
can
that's that
expand.
Mother Teresa quote, right? When you said that, that's that she has this famous quote that says, "If you want to change the world, go home and love your family."
Oh, okay. I've never heard that.
Yeah, that's it. 100% what you're saying.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. My battery is going to die soon. Let me plug it in real quick. Hang on.
Okay. All right. I'm just going to move on to Jupiter while you're doing that then.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So we have Jupiter. Oh, let's see now. There we go. Jupiter is in Gemini. So this is a very expansive time in terms of learning. Gemini brings a lot of new information that helps Jupiter in shifting philosophies, theologies, ontologies, even accounts of history, perceptions of history, historical accounts in general. So, how we view history and what actually happened in the past. Um, and it also helps our own nervous calm system to expand, right? Jupiter is the planet of expansion because it helps us hold different perspectives. It helps us shift our perception, which ultimately expands our level of mental capacity and ability to think more because there's new information and new ways of seeing and new ways of thinking. So, Jupiter helps our nervous calm system, our electrical system to expand, to feel safe, to take up more space, to feel safe, to be bigger. Um, Really, really exciting time. And as I kind of touched upon before, Jupiter, um, like with Jupiter and Gemini, travel is definitely favored in order to um, well, with Venus, it's going to activate, for fated love relationships and even non-romantic partnerships that can happen, but especially romantic partnerships and even twin flames. It's a very great time if you feel called to a certain geolocation to go there. But apart from relationship stuff in general, Jupiter in Gemini can stimulate you to go to various locations on this planet in order for your nervous calm system, your electrical system to be stimulated in some sort of way. as well as the energy that you hold within your electrical system to stimulate certain geolocations as well. So this is grid work in both ways of the grid doing work on you and you doing work on the grid. So pay attention if there's certain places that may be calling to you. So we have Jupiter not really activating anything too spectacular through this month, although we do have that Venus Jupiter conjunction, as I mentioned. Excuse me. Um, which is, yeah, a very, very lucky time for love and abundance. So I love that. And that's really all I got to say about Jupiter. Is he's not too fast moving, doesn't really activate any specific star. So
Yeah, I actually don't have much to say either about Jupiter, only because I feel like he really got center stage for a little while when it was recent, like over the last, yeah,
I
was
think
there
just Jupiter
uh,
moving into Gemini at first was like, it was a big deal.
yeah, when it was our so one of the last lunations, I'm not remembering if it was new moon or full moon before this last one, there was some massive Jupiter stuff happening, but now I've felt it quieting down. If you want, you can pull up a chart,
Mhm.
but seriously, we can be super quick and move on to um, just pull up I think the very first chart, the very first one
Oh,
from
okay.
the
Hold on.
very first week of the mandala of 716.
This one.
Yeah, on the left, just right there, where on the left chart, you see an arrow pointed there. I did have this channel pointed out because it's being created from Jupiter and the moon. This is just a super powerful, beautiful channel that I always love to point out because that one, the one directly next to it, and then there's another little one. There's those three outer channels on the inside of that body graph. They're the only three actual manifesting channels in our human design chart. This one in
Sorry,
particular,
can you say which ones those were again?
just those three on the outside. So like the other two aren't colored in because there isn't anything activating them, but like
Oh, right here. Is
the
it 63,
the
27, 36?
no, go back to like where that arrow is. Yeah, like the actual
Mm-hmm.
body chart. Okay, you see how that there's that black channel, right, that I'm pointing to.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this one.
Literally the one right next to it on the left that's white is the 1222. And
Oh,
then there's a
this?
little one also next to that one on the left that's the 4521. um they all they two of them go to the emotional center, one goes to the will, and those are the only like full on actual called manifesting channels in our chart. So I just like to always point them out for especially those of us of whom are not having manifesting energy, that we can tap into it if we do have like, opposing gates or whatever. So um yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. You can go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Saturn. Let's see. So Saturn, probably good to mention that Saturn just went retrograde yesterday on the 14th. Technically for me, it's in the Pisces Cetus void. Most people would consider it in the Pisces star system, but I think it's important to acknowledge both of them. Saturn's also conjunct Neptune, of course, and has been for a while. So this is a huge time for spiritual recalibrations that are good for society in general. And if things aren't spiritually aligned, they are not going to stand the test of time with Saturn. So as we can see already, a lot of things are being dismantled. And again, a lot of that is being supported by Pluto. Um, and it's just the beginning. But with Neptune and Saturn being together so long, it really is a lot about what is spiritually aligned. And again, a lot of that has to do with what people's souls are calling them to do. Um, so Saturn retrograde in general, right? It's a reassessment of our long-term goals. It's of our work, career, vocation. So a lot of people can be rethinking what they want to do in the long term, how they spend their day, how they make their money. Um, It's also reassessment of our allocation of resources. So that's on a personal level as well as a large scale level for sure. And also our relationship with the public. So the public side of functioning. On a larger scale, this definitely is revamping our social structures, governments, public services, all of that. Saturn retrograde can cause businesses to fail. It can cause governments or government officials to fall. It can cause, supposed authority to be questioned or completely ignored. So, Saturn retrograde is always a very anti-establishment, anti-authority time. So, it'll be interesting to see how that materializes in our reality on a large scale. And, since this retrograde is in Pisces, there are, everything that is happening is for the greatest good of all. It's for the collective consciousness. It is for the greater collective harmony. And I don't mean harmony as in we're all going along to get along or we're all doing the same thing. It's not those distorted feminine principles of almost totalitarianism of like everyone has to be the same and do the same. No, it's more um, for the collective to sort of all be resonating at the same frequency of, yeah, soul fulfillment, I would say. We still have long ways to go until we get the collective there, but that vibration is already rippling out. And right now it's more in the destructive phase of sort of burning down. It's not even burning down. I'm seeing like vibrations just dismantling things that aren't meant to be there. So it kind of feels more like an earthquake, but it's more of a sound wave of just like zzz, like just breaking shit up. It's kind of like, like even if you put something that's screwed together, whether it's a toy or something, if you put it on a vibration plate, like it's gonna come apart eventually. And it feels like that is really what's starting to happen here, especially with Saturn going retrograde. Obviously, we have a lot more Saturn retrogrades before Saturn leaves Pisces, which I believe is in like 2040 something. Let's just take a look. Oh, okay, yeah, don't quote me on that. So let's see. Oh wait, why is it a year? Oh, there we go. Years. Oh, oh, okay. Not that fast. Okay. Oh, okay. 2028. I think I was thinking of Neptune. Um, so it looks like, yeah, Saturn's going to be in Pisces until 2027, 2028 approximately. So that's going to be still going through these spiritual calibrations. And once Saturn hits Aries, it's a whole new cycle for Saturn to go through. So life as we know it in terms of governmental structure and society might be indistinguishable from this time, which is interesting because that's when 2027 is when the cross of the sleeping phoenix begins, right? Yeah, okay. So it's going to be very, very different.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure. Saturn's a big, big player. So Saturn won't really be doing too much this month. Not activating any particular stars either, as we can see. Saturn's a slow mover. Um, and so it will be retrograde all for the next month, and will continue its retrograde until November 27th. So,
Cool.
yep, that's all I got to say about Saturn. Usually the outer planets, there's really not that much because I mean, there's still a lot, but it's
Mhm.
not a bunch of different information. It's just very
Yeah,
precise because they don't move that much.
yeah, they're doing the big collective work. So yeah, it's
Hmm.
like this is going to take a while, guys. Keep tuning in. Like
Hmm.
um the things I have to share about Saturn also include Neptune, so I don't know if you want to
Okay.
speak to that and then we can look at my thing or it's up to you.
Um, yeah, I guess I could talk about Neptune real quick since it's right there, and then we can go back to well, I guess I don't need to type that in. It's already there. All right,
They
let's
are right on top.
see. All right. And Neptune's also really not moving that much. It moves even slower than Saturn. So Neptune's at home in Pisces. So if you've been wondering why things have been weird the past years, um, so Neptune went into Pisces in 2021. So I'm sure everyone remembers what was happening around that time. It is the and Neptune will be moving through Pisces through 2039 to 2040. So this is a very long transit. Neptune in Pisces is major spiritual upheaval for the collective. It helps us see the unseen realms. Things that try to hide can no longer be hidden. So we are seeing things being revealed, on a collective level, which I think the world has definitely seen a lot lately. And it also helps us understand deeper into metaphysical reality. So I think it's a really exciting time because, I mean, there's so many, I'm not even going to list them, but there's so many spiritual and metaphysical principles that, religions or ancient texts or even like conspiracy theories, whatever, um, of belief systems that people have had that science is finally catching up with, and now we have documentation. Like, auras. People used to say, "Oh, that's bullshit." Now we can physically document your torus field and see what it is. We can see the frequency it's at. You can see if there's like holes in it, basically, if there's like darker spots. Like we have the technology to see this now. So a lot of, what mystics have known forever is finally being proven, which is also helping us understand. It's like ripping the veil of like, okay, the deepest truth is we don't need science. I mean, we need science, I guess. Like we don't need science to prove things to us, things that we already know, things that we have a deep knowing with a capital K in our own soul. And the fact that these knowings and these truths have been denied for so long until, technology has caught up or technology has been given to the main populace for them to catch up is asinine. It's so ass backwards of because like look at how spiritually distorted and how fucked up society is now after not listening to these things because people wanted some sort of physical evidence of things. It's like, and even still, it's like for crystals, for example, like, oh, crystals, they don't do anything. It's like, how do you think your fucking laptop and phone works? Like, what the fuck? It's the magic of crystals and metals. Like, it's alchemy. It's all magic. They're just giving it a different name to rob you of your own. Like, so anyway, Neptune in Pisces is just such a, and we're just at the tip. This is just the tip, bitch. Get ready. Like, there is
A
so
long
much
journey.
more. Yeah, there's a big old shaft coming, okay? Because
Yeah.
Neptune in Pisces does not play around. It is going to make you see whether you like it or not.
Mhm.
Um, and it's helping us see through these mass illusions and mass delusions of society, especially these spells that have been put on the general population. Um, so all these, death spells and staying asleep spells and sell your soul spell, all that bullshit, like, is really being revealed through this transit and will continue to be revealed through 2040. So it's huge. Um, kind of the brighter side of Neptune and Pisces, it simulates a lot of imagination. So this is really awakening the dreamers. So a lot of people who have just been like, la, la, kind of like in the la la land or in the in between or in the ethers or even the void to an extent are going to be awoken to the point where it's not that they're no longer going to be there, but it's like how Pisces is one foot or one fin in one dimension and the other foot or fin in this dimension because we need people who can access that and be both places at once. And that's also part of bridging that metaphysical reality and I guess we could say proving it by embodying it. So a lot of these dreamers and mystics and things like that are going to be stimulated to share their visions with the world, their visions or their gifts. So this can be a vision, maybe for some people it might be a painting that they want to create. For some people it might be technology. For some people it might be precognition. It really can vary very widely in Pisces because Pisces encompasses almost the all. I guess Cetus would hold everything, but Pisces is really close. Um, and so yeah, a lot of people are just going to be stimulated to share a lot. And again, this is going to be a longer process. So some people are just waking up with Neptune entering Pisces since 2021. But people who have been awoken for quite some time, they're going to be a little bit further progressed in their Neptune cycle. And it really depends on your relationship with Neptune, of how spiritually aligned you are, how spiritually devoted you are, how connected you are to the ethers, yet remaining rooted in this reality that you can be, of being able to be both and do both. That really depends on, yeah, your level of Neptune. But in general, Neptune in Pisces also can highlight the collective's addiction and escapism. So, on a collective, like what we're addicted to, okay, obviously, most people are addicted to their phones. Alcohol is a very common one, substances in general, pharmaceuticals. Like, just because you have a prescription doesn't mean it's not a drug. Most people are addicted to drugs, their body is dependent on it. I'm not shaming anyone who uses pharmaceuticals, but I would hope that the aim would be you use it to stabilize yourself to then get off of it. Everything can be healed within, and that is also something that Pisces teaches us, and Chiron can help with that journey as well. Um, and, you know, because escapism, addiction, the remedy to both is spirituality, is getting connected to your own soul and what you perceive as the greater spirit of things. So it's going to be, I mean, it's already started, and we already see that spirituality has become so much more mainstream since 2021, um, almost commodified in a way. There are more spiritual healers, tarot readers, all that sort of stuff online sharing their gifts, and that's such a good thing. But we're going to see it improve more and more and more. And again, um, it's not necessarily that everyone's going to be high priestess or things like that, or high priest, magician, whatever it may be. But it is, again, a spiritual calling is whatever your calling is, whether it's a banker or a painter or whatever it may be.
Mhm. So true.
All right. So, which diagram would you like me to pull up?
Just pull up the Neptune and Saturn retrograde one that I think that's in that first week's chart of like 716.
Let's see, 16.
Um, you
The mandala chart or
No, the one that's
the
black and then it
okay, yeah, got
shows,
it.
yeah, both of them. And then two, I was thinking before I speak to that is like what you were saying also, just Neptune and Pisces is so much reminding me also of that quote of do you see the Sagittarius energy coming out? I'm gonna give you quotes and
Yeah,
philosophy,
I love
every
it.
single thing that you just said. Um, is that quote that's like, I'm not going to murder it now, but it's like basically saying what we considered or what they considered magic, 100 years ago, we now call science. It's like, yeah,
Hmm.
bitch, that's right. So like
Exactly.
everything that,
Y'all are behind.
yeah, yeah. But it's also kind of, again, like I'm bringing in this like oppositional energy, or not oppositional, let's just say different perspective viewpoint of even science, to where it's like talk about different paths and shit, is it's just like, you know what, I don't fucking know, but that's those people's job to give all the people who can't feel and see the things that we know like that
Hmm.
a way to see it, and like,
Yeah.
yes, is that still annoying to those of us that, yes, have known for years that all of this is possible? Yes, it is, but it's like, okay, but that's what they need and whatever. And it's all the freaking same thing, that it
Yeah.
really is just this way of, I don't know. Yeah, there can be distorted shit and all of that too, but you know what I'm saying, in like
Hmm.
the good
Yeah,
way.
definitely. That's
Like,
such a great point too, because it is, no matter how it comes about, it's still a unifying process.
right,
It's
right.
kind of again back to like a rose by any other name still smells so sweet. Like
Yes,
it's
yes.
the same thing.
It
And
is just and it's a different path. You know what else
mhm,
has so deepened that integration for me? It is this Gene Keys work and human design work, meaning We all are. The more that you sink into this in the genetic coding way, and then seeing the way that these energetics run through our body chart and our body in different, more, let's say, prominent ways. Like they're all running the same per se, but we're all, it's clear to see, and I've seen it mirrored too many times with like beings, like let's use my husband for example, who has so many of these like logical channels. He's like super defined up. He's like eh, all the things that, it's so that masculine energy. It's so singular. It's so like this is the way, right? Well, yeah, that doesn't work so well with my Neptune shit, right? And my openness, but it is his path, meaning what all of those things have shown me is it's still all roads to the same thing. We're just going in different directions. And it really is normally going to be that more logical circuit, or the more intuitive, which means just that right brain, left brain, the feminine, masculine. And that's all that all of this is, the intuition, spirituality, energy. That's just that more, feminine pathway. And then the logic, the masculine, that's the scientific pathway. The intention is trying to all lead us to the same freaking answers. It's just
Yeah.
different pathways to get there. The problem is many times where it's not been happening in this world in that way, but I do believe
Yeah,
that is what.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
A lot of it has been hijacked, but
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
also, again, leading people back to the path of self. Because the
Yes.
most rational thing that one can do is trust their own experiences. And so when you start to realize that these institutions that you put your faith in are admitting they don't know or giving contradicting results or studies or findings or whatever it may be, or noticing that they're lying or whatever it may be. Again, it's like, okay, well, something that you trusted, now you learn that you can no longer trust. Now what? Now you're back to square one and you really have to go within and see, start fine tuning your internal discernment, I
Mhm.
suppose. And that's the thing, is if the masculine structures fail in their integrity of what they're supposed to do, we will always be returned back to our own feminine energy, our
Mhm.
own intuition, um, yeah, I'll just say intuition because that's that's eventually what it gets down to.
Yeah, well, that's perfect segue right there, perfect pathway into exactly what this chart on the right is saying of what the gene key that both Saturn and Neptune being in retrograde are in is gene key 37, which was that code I've been bringing in a lot to speaking to that channel, this tribal energy that we're actually leaving that connects to the 40, but that's like the age, this tribal age cross of planning that we're leaving. But this singular energy on its own is so beautiful in what it represents, and it is so divine feminine. And like here, like what it represents is the family and the people in the home, right? And the elements is wind over fire, so it's speaking to wind from within, but fire emanates outward, so it's very much that inner fire, very much like a Vesta kind of, energy. But then it's saying creating synergy from movement forward. The political philosophy at the heart of this code is that the strength and power of a nation pivots upon the health, well-being, and state of its women, right? So that's,
Oof, yes.
yes, this
Yeah.
is what this was one of those codes that I was also, just kind of side note, that it's so interesting that I have as my unconscious sun placement, so that therefore makes it part of my incarnation cross. But then my husband, he has this actual code as his moon. And it's like, what, like, crazy, how can you make this up? But then what I love about this particular time, hang on, let me, is from the actual, oracular view of line one of what this is representing. But then certainly it just freaking, this is word for word the oracular view of the line one bottom first line of this hexagram of 37, and it goes perfectly with that Saturn Neptune energy there. So it says focus on the domestic front in your familial relations. Focus on housekeeping to avert unforeseen disasters. Discipline and a strict code of conduct are needed to maintain stability. The energy of this line and these retrogrades here is I added just that part, but then this is word for word from the I Ching says is akin to the role a parent has with its child, having discipline and rules to keep the child safe and assist them in learning. So like this is so much bringing in so many different vibes to this, right? Meaning, even I'm feeling like Saturn exaltation coming through this
Mhm.
time because Saturn has gotten this fucking bad rap. And I'm sure there's been like
Yeah.
weird, inverted, distorted streams of consciousness, but
Yeah.
I've never experienced Saturn that way. I've always experienced Saturn in very much this way, where it's like, you think I'm blocking you, but like you're not fucking ready for the next level, bitch. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm not doing some weird thing. Like this is my job. So again, I do know there are some legit weird things that have occurred thus far with Saturn, but I've
Hmm.
never it's the frequency that
Hmm.
we are is what we tap into to things. And so I've never experienced in that way. But then there was something, remember back while in the beginning where you had said something about this discipline factor, or maybe not discipline, but like the parent-child relationship. And I
Yeah.
was just seeing this full picture in all of these energetics in that way too, where it's very much like Saturn, I feel, is like bringing in that energy as we're going deeper in this Neptune retrograde energy. Because talk about uh Neptune energy, period. You need some rules and discipline, y'all. Like you need it because like it's a super expansive and deep energy. But then retrograde, it's taking us so deep into those intuitive channels and energies that I mean it's the most psychic of all psychic realms, and this is where people are so, especially women, being so led astray, which is all of
Yeah.
what I speak to, like in the dark arts training way, where it's like, hey ladies, like you don't understand what's going on here. I need to tell you some things. Like
Yeah.
watch out for this, watch out for that. So I'm just feeling very much this energy of both of these planets and coming through for many divine feminines in big ways in that way, where it's like we are the hearth fire of the home, whatever that can mean, right? We are the backbone, but therefore we also we've got to have this mix of both this Neptune and Saturn kind of energy where we know how to have the rules. We know, and we especially in our psychic lives and in the inner world and in that work, in quantum work, you better understand universal law. You better not only understand psychic protection, but like deeply understand it. Like this is no joke,
Yeah.
so just no different from very much how we are with our children. It's very, very much that energy and not um, just a really good, cool mix. I feel that it's trying to bring a lot of balance to many divine feminines in that way, to be nurturing and intuitive and psychic, but also holding that in a lot of strong boundary, like I know what the fuck is up kind of energy.
Yes,
So
exactly. Because that the Neptune Saturn conjunction is, you know, Neptune, the spiritual, the limitless, with
limits.
the yeah, with the
The
planet of
planet of
limitation
limits.
and bound. Yeah, right, exactly. So it's like the limitless and the limited come together, and I think that's also, um, very much masculine feminine polarity as well. And it feels like the fact that they are conjunct and Saturn is going retrograde during this time with um the new moon in Cancer starting this lunar cycle, it really feels like these Saturn and Neptune codes are echoing on a larger scale some of the more, I guess we'll say microcosmic or practical aspects of the things of Cancer, because it sounds like everything you read sounded like a summation of everything that we talked about.
Yeah. Yes,
It
that's
really
my
did. And
yes.
it's like,
Yes.
a lot of it is, I really love that saying too, because yeah, like the the wealth of a nation is determined by like the happiness of the women or the health of the women.
The health and all of
The
it, just
health. Yeah.
our state of being and what we
Yes.
are, that's what our world is
Hmm.
basically going to be like. And I mean, woo, women, yeah, it has not been so great for us for a long time in many
Yeah.
extreme ways, right? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah. Oh, and I just want to say too, just for your viewers, like, so everyone's well aware, like we didn't plan any of this, the way of
Yeah.
which
We did
we
not.
like rolled with how we were speaking about the things.
Yeah.
And even Sachi only saw these what last night that I sent you my
I
chart.
actually didn't,
So
I got the emails, but I didn't look at them until today.
right,
I
yeah,
planned on doing it yesterday, and even
yeah.
when I opened them today, I just put them on the slides. I didn't read through them because I knew Amber would go through them. So I didn't feel like I needed to look through them.
That's perfect.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, all the information that I had prepared for this episode and all the information she had prepared, we did not have any crossover
No.
whatsoever until this episode. So it's really beautiful how like harmonious and congruent these things are. And it's funny because before we started the episode, Amber and I were chatting, like, yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like
Mhm.
what's happening above, how it's actually influencing the genetic aspects of things. And, we'll
Mhm.
see if they're the same. And it seems like they are just in different ways, like
Yeah.
the energies that are coming through. So,
Yeah, and just bringing in if that's what the continued pattern I've seen is just this very broad view of the whole picture and seeing how
mhm,
so many things are relating to the same thing that if you weren't seeing the whole picture, maybe we wouldn't have known, right? Like
mhm,
that's so cool, I think.
it is. I totally agree. Are you ready to move to Uranus?
Yeah.
We'll move on to, I guess not move
Yeah.
to.
I
Ooh,
don't really, and
Venus.
I don't think I have much to say about that, but we'll see. You say what you need to, and then
Yeah, I don't really have much either. Uranus is still in Taurus, and Uranus and Taurus, it helps us anchor technology and science that work with nature rather than against nature. So, sacred mathematics and engineering are stimulated in the collective. Various like group and community relationships are being created based on their like people's relationship with the earth. So depending on your relationship with the earth, that's probably who you're vibing with right now and how these groups are being formed. Um, very kind of like farmers market or community garden type energy, but it can be even more again with the sacred mathematics and engineering and such. We have social stratification that is currently based on how people honor their body, how people are respecting the planet, and what quality of resources people accept in their life. And, Uranus has been dancing around the Pleiades for quite some time. It will continue over the entirety of the next month. Uranus is also a slow moving
Mhm.
one. So, really not much to say about that. I mean, obviously, Pleiades, right? It stimulates like Earth Guardian groups and female spiritual leaders. And of course, is activating the Pleiadian collective as well, and those who identify as Pleiadian. So, big, big time. So, a lot of people who are, work with Pleiades stuff or who are into helping anchoring the organic Earth grid and organic technology and things like that can be getting divine downloads. Uranus is the planet of aha moments, of serendipity and things like that. So if you're at that level and working on your Uranus level stuff, yeah, it can be quite insightful. And in general, if you're working on your Uranus stuff, which is your genius level, um, multi-decade dedication type stuff, it's going to be things that are going to be good for the planet and be good for you as well. So if you think you're working on Uranus stuff and you're, killing yourself or whatever, it's not good. So, if you're working in like a radioactive lab or something, trust me, that's not your genius. Unless you're fully protecting yourself in some sort of way with anti-radiation technology. But um, again, we can have all these types of technologies without having these harmful things. So Uranus is really helping us do that and stimulate a lot of people in the collective. And if you're one of those people getting those types of messages, you need to bring it forth, bring it into creation. Please and thank you. And that's really all I have to say.
Yeah.
I don't really like getting too deep into starseed stuff, but I'm sure there are plenty of Palladium people who talk about this if they're on True Sky at least.
Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of the same as you now, but yeah, I just ditto to everything you said. And that just, yeah, we've been feeling that Pleiadian influence on Uranus for a while now.
Hmm.
And I'm with you in the sense of more just I've moved away from, it's weird because not for everyone, but I think there's a lot more truly earth-seated souls that actually live here that aren't star seeds. And I believe a lot are getting confused with not understanding the difference between getting activations and information that they need for their soul journey through star gates, which
Hmm.
Pleiades is the very first one that we must basically go to or go through, or it has been. But it doesn't mean that everyone who connects with it is a freaking Pleiadian. So yeah, that's another
Hmm.
rabbit hole day. We can speak to things such as
Yeah, definitely.
that.
Um, do you have any charts that you want to pull up in regards to Uranus?
I really don't. There was
Okay,
nothing standing out to me really in that way.
okay. Then I'll move on to my very dear friend Pluto. Pluto, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, is betwixt Sagittarius and Capricornus. So it's in the Sag Cap void. It's been there for quite some time. It is inching near Capricornus, every year. It's been toggling its alignment with Altair. So pretty important alignment because Altair is the United States true Pluto return star in terms of alignment. So when America was founded, um, it was aligned with Altair. And so Pluto is now back at Altair, and I'm sure everyone is feeling the complete transformation and total and utter destruction and rebirth of the United States of America as we know it. So that's a big deal. But in general, if you want to learn more about Pluto, Align Altair, and all of that, you can watch the special topic episode called Pluto Return, US Pluto Return, I think it is, in season one. Uh, Discussed in length all about Pluto's return and what that is bringing and what we can expect as Pluto actually moves into true Capricornus for a while, which I think is until like 2042, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check so I'm not misquoting. Yeah. Oh, 2037. Okay. Yeah, like 2035, it's out of the asterism, but it's technically still part of Capricornus. Um, it's actually looks like it's going closer to Pisces Australis than Aquarius. So Pluto actually won't be going into Aquarius and actually in the asterism until kind of the ass end of Aquarius, honestly, 2049. So interesting orbital path of Pluto. Obviously, it's very far from the ecliptic. But in any regards, so we still have that, but yeah, with the alignment with Altair, again, you can learn more about that. But in general, Pluto is assisting with shutting down the surveillance state. So thanks, Pluto. Um, and Pluto has been retrograding since May 4th. So has already been in retrograde motion for quite some time. Will continue its retrograde motion until October 13th. Pluto retrograde in general helps us review cycles in our lives, reassess how we are evolving and whether we want to continue evolving that way. It helps us kind of put a checkpoint in our transformation and also sheds life on multi-lifetime patterns. And also helps us with multi-lifetime missions for those of us who are awakened to that fact. Um, and Pluto retrograde in general also helps us revisit shadow work. So the shadow work that still needs to be done, Pluto retrograde definitely helps us revisit that and, connect with the deeper and lower layers of existence and do any sort of underworld journeys that we need to continue to do or finish up or wrap up. Um, and again, it's in the Sag Cat void. So this transformational energy that's been going on for quite some time and on a personal and collective level is connected to the perceptions, perspectives, and belief systems of Sagittarius, as well as the social, governmental, and corporate level of things through Capricornus. So we're just ending, the total transformation of Sag stuff, which we just saw, in terms of travel changes, in terms of education changes, in terms of, general perception, also historical accounts, how history is documented and whether, what is historical fact and not, et cetera, et cetera. We are really seeing just like a separation of worlds and you can be standing next to someone and be in a completely different world. And that's definitely that Sagittarius thing because perception makes reality. That's something that comes through Sag. And we are totally living in understanding. Yeah. People can be living into different realities. And we are just starting
Mm.
the shifts of the Pluto in Capricornus. So, you know, big girl, big boy, pants on for that one because it's going to be a rough ride. I'm ready and
Yeah.
I'm on my, I'm good.
Mhm.
But for a lot of people, it can be quite a shock.
Mhm. Yeah, totally.
And I believe you had a Pluto slide, right?
Yes, yep. It's the one, so it just shows Pluto. It's with the black. It's not a
Oh,
chart.
yeah. This one?
A Pluto retrograde. Yes, yep. So, this here is very much like everything you're speaking to, just beginning this, what I spoke to also in the beginning of the shadow being dissatisfaction, but the intention of that dissatisfaction is trying to tune people into that divine dissatisfaction, meaning like, oh, okay, your life or this world isn't working. Let's go deeper. Let's fucking see why, right? So this is like she said, we've been here for a while in Pluto and we'll continue, but um I actually have a very interesting post for anyone who's curious in this way to see on, I think, both of my pages, both of my Instagrams, Celestial Healing 444 and True Sky Human Design, of showing the exact gene keys that Pluto will be, backwards, well, no, I'm sorry, forwards moving through in Capricorn, to just really give a cool visual and see like deeply collectively and individually what we're all about to actually be going through in Capricorn. So if you're ready to see that, go take a look. But if you feel too scared, don't, because yeah, it's like she's saying, it's gonna be crazy. So um but again, in this way of tuning to higher realities and higher outcomes, higher everything for this world. So in the I Ching, this is actually called opening and joyous exchange, right? So I love when some of these codes are far more polarized than others. This one's one of those, being the shadow dissatisfaction, the city is bliss. I mean, people, and like you can't, someone who's truly in that frequency of this acidic frequency of bliss, it's that this is not like attainable on this planet. Okay, like this is like true bliss. Like they would lose all ability, need, or desire to like do anything that is human, and they would literally die if someone isn't like feeding them and giving them water, because they would be in truly that level of bliss from nothing, right? So now we can have tastes of that though, right, in the acidic
Hmm.
frequencies. So um this is that also code I was speaking to in the beginning of, it's two lakes joined together, open to each other, flowing together freely and enriching one another. So the inner light is shining outward and therefore attracting kindred spirits. It says, may your mind be pure so that joy follows as a guardian angel. I love that line because it's a lot of also what Sachi has kind of like been saying in this entire transit time is like, please focus on what the fuck you actually want to see and be and do in the
Yeah.
world. Okay. Cause like, our thoughts really are creating our reality. And we need to be more serious about it. So, the overall energy, like from this entire retrograde, will just be the line I picked from it is from line one, saying an exchange of peace and kind and gentle words, direct, honest conversation. All parties are enriched. The virtues of conscientiousness, gentleness, and generosity of spirit are prevalent. So I loved this message because so many times retrograde is any of them. Sometimes they are heavier and deeper, and sometimes it is like, oh shit, I'm going to be
Mhm.
learning some heavy shit. But I love Pluto's message through this retrograde is it's like, I'm trying to bring you this freaking vitality and bliss, y'all. Can you like please just
Mhm.
like do the work so that you can understand this, and get into this energy a little bit better? So I'm feeling such a which that's again, we could do a whole episode just on Pluto, that this Pluto energy is completely misunderstood too. I don't know how you feel it, but I don't feel it as a masculine energy. I feel it as extremely feminine. The planet has a freaking heart on it. I mean, come on. Like
Yeah, it does.
she's yeah, she's also again very much this like Cancer mother energy and is so divine feminine in that way that's like, yeah, hey, I might come in and like bring a storm through your life, but it was for your highest good. You won't thank me in the moment, but you will later. You're welcome,
Yeah.
So that's truly like divine feminine energy in our highest form. It's not
Yeah.
doing that to be disruptive or transformational, but it's just that we are that. So
Mhm.
that's all.
Yeah, totally. It kind of gives me like Callie vibes, or
Mhm.
Kali, I should say.
Yes, yes.
Of
She
just like destroying for the sake of creation.
Yes, that's part of creation is the
Hmm.
destruction. Yes, Kali is tattooed on my back.
Oh,
So,
okay, beautiful. No wonder why I was feeling that.
yes. And this is what in the dream spell is like that storm energy. It's also
Uh-huh.
very in the dream spell work, like attuned with Pluto kind of energy. That's what I was speaking to you back when we were first connecting, is I was like, ooh,
Mhm.
you got Pluto energy in a different way. I have it in this way. That's
Mhm.
why we're connecting. Yes.
Yeah. It's nice to connect with another Pluto level worker because there's not many that I've seen.
No, no. It's yeah. And you can't blame them, right? We've had shit
It's not for the faint of heart.
to
Although, I mean,
do.
there actually is a very bold heart.
Braveheart. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
for the
brave heart.
brave-hearted souls.
Yeah,
But
it
yeah,
is.
not too many here yet.
Hmm.
So
Well, I'm sure they'll be birthed soon, I'm sure. There was
yes.
actually a time, I want to say it was like 2022, where there were so many warrior spirit babies around that were
Mhm.
just like willing to incarnate into any womb. I was like,
Mhm.
whoa, y'all are coming
Back
in.
up.
They are like soldiers. Yeah,
Yeah.
they felt like Pluto level, like Pluto plus Mars, like the most
Mhm.
raw, like warrior type energy ready to destroy things. I was like, oh my
Oh
God.
yeah. Yes. That's exactly what we need. Yes. More of
Hmm.
that, please.
Yes.
Yes.
And then the last thing to discuss, which I don't, obviously I can't show in the Sky app, but is North Node. So
Yeah.
North Node, according to the True Sky Crew calculations of the way that we have done our calendar and such, moves into the Aquarius Pisces void on July 26th. So coming up quite soon, and that's pretty big because it's a mix of both the mystical and technological. So for anyone who may not be aware, the nodes go in opposite of the zodiac. So it's moving from Pisces into Aquarius, and then we'll move from Aquarius into Capricornus eventually. Um, but this is going to be helping push the collective out of their comfort zone in order to grapple with this crossover of mystic and technological. So the metaphysical is meeting the scientific, and this can cause a lot of people's emotional bodies to be everything from disturbed to inspired. So, um, I mean, North Node activations can be a lot of different ways, but in general, North Node activations help calibrate soul missions by assisting in giving us that push out of our comfort zone in order to fulfill our soul mission. North Node stuff is not comfortable. It's not meant to be comfortable because usually North Node stuff is your soul's experiencing it for the first time. That's why it's part of its mission. So obviously, if you've never experienced it before, it can be a little scary. So there is, like fear that you need to move through, but again, remember, fear is not danger. So move through whatever is trying to hold you back from fulfilling your soul mission. And it seems like both the spiritual and the technological will really be help here. Aquarius is also the sign of revolution and rebellion and social upheaval. So, rebelling against the norm, no matter what that means. And so with North Node there, we're going to see a lot more, activism and humanitarian efforts coming through with North Node there as well. So if your personal North Node is in this area, then you can definitely expect big shifts for your nodal return. And if you have your North Node in Aquarius, you're going to start feeling those activations, obviously, with the peak being wherever your North Node actually is in Aquarius. So expect big shifts.
Yes, that's yes. Can I say some stuff now? Or were you going to say more?
Oh, no, no, I'm done. I'm done.
Okay, yeah.
Is there something you want me to pull up?
Yes, pull up the one that says North and South nodes in Gene Keys, 49 and 4. So it's black in the back. I think it's from the second week. So like the week of
16.
7/21,
Oh,
maybe,
7/21.
maybe the next week. Yeah.
Is it this one?
It'll be a black chart. It has a little, yeah, on the right.
Okay.
Yep, that one
Okay.
on the right. So freaking perfect. Because you know what else I was realizing too? Remember in the beginning, I was like, oh, I think, maybe there's a little what's the word? I was going to say discrepancy, but I'm not even going to use that word. Just difference in how you were tracking the North Node and then me in relation to the charting and human design.
Mhm.
But you know
Yeah.
what I was realizing is like what you're saying, it's would be too complicated in the human design chart way to kind of take into consideration the nodes. Well, let's say at this point in time, who knows what I will turn all of that into as the years go on. But um, either way, it just again, it's so freaking resonant with what you said that I was just thinking, even though in my chart I have been showing that the nodes have shifted into Aquarius, North Node, South Node, Leo. I'm feeling like these beginning to gene keys because it was already in one and now it's just beginning to it will be shifting into the page that you're looking at on the right on 7/21. That those are this is probably just that kind of void space part in the chart. So, what I loved is again overall talk about like a summation of everything is the gene key 4, which is that south node, right? But I like to bring in these as we're traveling in the genetic coding way that it's speaking to the element of like mountain over water, but then it's speaking to the pure spring rises under the shelter of the mountain. It doesn't know where it's going, yet its flow becomes steadily deeper and stronger. So this is speaking to gene key 4 and just being like, it literally then says like seek out better teachings to learn better ways. That sounded a lot of like what you were beginning to speak to, but then bringing people into this energy of like not needing to fucking know everything, like learning to learn just to learn. And of course, we're going to have some kind of set ideals and things that come in with that, sure. But like being more open to the flow. Um, and then just being willing to not need to know everything. And then what you were speaking to, just like that Aquarian energy, that's what this gene key 49 is now we're moving into in the North Node. It is the code of revolution, of rebirth. It is like the most powerful code pretty much in that way in Aquarius. And I love too what it's speaking to in the way of saying like the new king must realign the calendar with the stars. Like literally,
Oh,
this is
fuck
what it says.
yes.
Yes, in the I Ching, this is what it says. Bringing his people's daily activities in sync with nature. Is this not exactly what you and I are doing right now?
Yes, we are.
Inner lucidity
Yes.
illuminates and transforms. And also, this is exactly what I just said. It says, but not change for its own sake, but to restore a natural harmony. That's what I was speaking to in that Pluto way, where it's like, and just divine feminine's coming better into that organic coding of like, I'm not leading with this energy of like transformation because that's what I am. It's like, no, like things need to change. That's
Yeah.
why. So just like
Mhm.
stop, Um, and that a revolution is to rectify injustice, but it begins with the revolution of the heart. This is everything that we've been saying this whole time. So it's like
Mhm.
this particular energy, it does sound a lot more outer, which it does quickly lead to that, but it kind of isn't. It's still very much also this same tone of so much of what we've been speaking to in this entire Cancer
Yeah.
kind of energy. That's like, because then it says first change inner misalignments. Thank you, all of the retrogrades and all of this energy before seeking transformation of others. Again, just
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
reverberating like every fucking thing that we've
Yeah.
said in so many ways, right?
Mhm.
I mean, just beautiful. And then there was one other chart. Hold on, I wanted to look at. There was something. Oh, just the hang on, the new moon. Hang on. You don't have to pull it up. I just wanted to look at something that it was. Yeah, that was just the chart that I had that shows these codes. That's on the like mandala chart of the new moon. Um, that I don't know, just again kind of goes so much with what we're saying, because also that new moon energy is when Earth and Pluto are aligned, directly aligned. These codes, the north and south nodes have just shifted into these codes that I just spoke to. And I think that's a lot of, initially when I was saying like, oh, the new moon, it's
Yeah.
just, it's gonna
It's a
be
lot.
like,
Uh-huh.
it's a lot. It's gonna be a lot. So I think a lot of good eventually, but it does feel like a lot of what's that saying? Like, is there, what's that saying? Like, it proof to the pudding kind of, what is that? I don't know.
Oh, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's what it feels like this whole time is it's like, oh, really? Like, you want to change? Okay. Like, by the way, nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yeah.
So good luck. you know?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and that's it.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to touch upon for the transits?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well then I think this concludes our transit episode. Thank you, Amber, so much for joining us again. It has been an absolute pleasure. I would love to invite you on again in the future if you're open to that. I really enjoy our discussion. I think it's absolutely beautiful how everything just reverberated. The echoes were very clear, which was really great. Um,
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it was really fun and I loved it. It's awesome.
Awesome. And everyone, let us know in the chat how you liked getting the True Sky Astrology plus the human design and I Ching information. Let us know what you thought about that. Let us know how you're feeling this energy, if there's any particular star or gate or transit that you've been feeling lately, and make sure to come back to this and comment and let us know. The next episode is going to be, where'd it go? Well, let me find the slide. The next episode is also going to be a transit report. So basically, in another month, because I want to have fun in the sun and enjoy my summer. So, um, I'm not going to do a special topic in between. So the next episode is going to be a transit report on Tuesday, August 24th at 7:30 p.m. with Sanja of Sanja and Shakti brand. So we are going to be doing a month-long transit report. So if you are wanting to keep up to date with the true sky, of course, tune in. And if you want information on a daily basis about what the transits are happening, make sure you get the True Sky astrology calendar, which can be found in my shop at sachitheseer.com under True Sky Astrology Tools. As always, when you align with the true sky, you align with your true self. So, oh, it says Sleph. Okay, I need to change that. Mercury retrograde, get me already. Until next time, everyone, keep looking up. Amber, thank you again.
Thank you. Okay,
Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye.